player. He'll really push the ball up the court. And at the other guard, number 15, Voldemir Tomičić, great outside shooter.
You know, a lot of people don't really realize that these are extremely good ball players. In fact, I believe that one of the coaches, or Washington coach, said if you put Arvydas Sabonis on any team in America, they'll automatically jump up and be a top 10 team no matter what the rest of the personnel around them is. That's a pretty strong statement.
It's a pretty strong statement. We'll get an opportunity tonight, I think, to see how true that statement is. Sabonis obviously is going against the best there is in Ralph Sampson. Get a look at the University of Virginia starting lineup. The same starting lineup, with the exception, of course, of number 34, Rick Carlisle, that they used last year. The four starters, the first four, Craig Robinson and Tim Mullen at forward, Ralph Sampson and Ocel Wilson, are four of the five that ended the season last year. Carlisle in place of Jeff Jones.
Ralph Sampson and Ocel Wilson, first team All-ACC at the end of the year, so you can see a lot is returning. Rick Carlisle, for those of you who follow college basketball, might remember him from the University of Maine several years ago. He set out last season, but had not a bad season in 80-81 up at Maine, I believe, averaging just a bit over 14 points a game.
Virginia coaches are very high on Carlisle. They think he's an excellent floor leader, that he's a good basketball player.
We're now having a moment's silence for the late Leona Jackson here. And now we'll be having the national anthems of both teams. First, from the University of Virginia Tech band, the national anthem of the Soviet Union. And now the United States national. The guys in Russia have got to be feeling awfully lonely to hear their Star-Spangled Banner being sung and so very, very far away from home.
They've certainly had a tough trip. They are going to play 12 games in 21 days, and this is their second game in 3 days, or their second game in 2 days. They have another game tomorrow in Illinois. So it's been a tough grind. Alexander Ganaski said that he was very tired. His players were very tired. I think that's going to be a factor in tonight's game. I think Virginia will want to run them up and down the court and test that bench, which they have used sparingly.
Of course, the Soviet colors are red, and we're looking for They're wearing Carolina blue warm-up jerseys. Now, that's the same color of the University of North Carolina, the national champions. I don't know what Virginia will think about that, but I find that rather interesting.
Well, the other interesting thing is that Soviet players are not all wearing the same warm-up design. There are a couple of them that have horizontal dark blue and light blue stripes. Nikolai Deryugin, as a matter of fact, has on a red warm-up, a blue suit with red stripes on it. So it's a potpourri of color out there.
I think so. Right now, they're beginning the introduction of the starting players. Ricky Stokes was introduced for the University of Virginia. And I believe here comes Jovica coming, so that should be an interesting matchup. Let's talk about a couple of the rule changes. Just refresh people's memory. I think as these international games become more and more common, we understand them more, but just to refresh the folks at home.
Well, of course, under international basketball, a 30-second clock is going to be used. Now, the 30-second clock rule will be exactly the same this year for Virginia in ACC games as it is in international rules. You have 30 seconds to shoot the ball from the time you gain possession of it.
The 30-second clock is to your right as you look at that picture. A couple of the other rule changes. The basket, of course, is going to be a real center of attention tonight because you can knock the ball out whenever it's up there on the rim.
Well, what would be called basket interference, whether offensive or defensive, in the NCAA is legal under international rules. You can't hit the ball once it's in the basket, but if it's on the rim or in the imaginary cylinder, it's okay to either knock it out if you're defense or knock it in if you're offense.
And probably, looking at the experience that Russia has with playing with us all the time, they will be much more adept at it than the University of Virginia. And I'm sure that there'll be certain instances tonight when Virginia would have had that opportunity, but not being used to that, playing it here in the United States, they might let a particular situation pass by.
That might be true. Another difference you see is that the baseline of the foul lane, the 3-second lane, is 3.5 feet wider on each side of the lane at the baseline. It's a triangular design that is wider at the baseline and then comes up, and it's the same foul line length, but it's different. It's 3.5 feet wider at the baseline or right next to the basket.
Okay, and as far I'll tell you what, I want to switch back here to the lineups that are being introduced at the moment because Ralph Sampson is set to be introduced, and you're going to hear the crowd go absolutely wild here at the Richmond Coliseum, which is just about 60 or 70 miles to the due east of the University of Virginia. So here you can hear the crowd building, and we'll just let you listen to it and watch it. Have all been introduced, and we're about set to get this basketball game underway. Dan Bonner, a couple of thoughts as we prepare to enter this international competition.
I think people who have never seen the Soviet Union play previously will be very entertained. The Soviet Union doesn't play the same type of conservative game that many American college teams play, and by that I don't mean that they just play quickly as opposed to slowing it down. They take 25, 20-foot shots with regularity, and they make them. They don't do a whole lot of passing the ball around before they take the shot. They'll make 1 or 2 good kick passes, and then they'll let it go. Very entertaining to watch.
I think so. The officials tonight have got an interesting job because they now essentially are learning a new game as such. And Jim Barrett on one side, Jim Burke and Joe Forte on the other, experienced officials here in the Mid-Atlantic region, and they've got their hands full tonight.
One of the differences that we didn't talk about in the international rules that will come into play probably more frequently than any other except the 30-second clock is the out of bounds. On a violation, the referee does not have to touch the ball. In American basketball, on a traveling call, a ball out of bounds, something like that, the referee must touch the ball before it can be inbounded. In international basketball, it's a live ball. The players can get it, run it down the sideline, and throw it in. That's usually an international competition where an American college team will lose a couple of points. It'll be a very heated part of the game, and they'll forget that for just an instant, and they may get burned.
Coaches tonight, you saw Terry Holland just a moment ago, Alexander Domelsky. There's a very distinguished-looking gentleman who is a colonel in the Red Army, And he's been coaching the team for several years now, and I think Billy Packer on NBC or CBS last week said it best. He is the Red Auerbach, the John Wooden of Russian basketball.
He really is. He's written something like 10 or 11 books about basketball. He's got 3 sons. One of them is a basketball coach in the Soviet Union. He's very astute. He's very concerned about playing good basketball. The Soviet Union, many people have said that on this tour, they're doing all facets of the game better. That's because he's decided to emphasize those facets of the game as opposed to good shooting, which, of course, the Soviets have always done very well.
I think the matchup, once again, in case you did join us late, the matchup, of course, would be between Ralph Sampson, number 50, you see him there, and Arvydas Sabonis, number 18 of the Soviet Union. Sampson, they say, is one of the best college players in the last 15 years in America, and the Soviet coach, Domelsky, said that Sabonis is perhaps the greatest player ever developed in the Soviet Union. So there you see the two of them, and it should be an interesting matchup. Again, I'm Scott Hatch along with Dan Bonner, and we welcome you to Richmond, Virginia, as the Soviet national team prepares to take on the preseason top-ranked team of the United States, the University of Virginia. And here we go. Of course, the international game, much more physical. We'll watch for that later tonight. This is Jovica giving to Sabonis in the corner. We'll kind of run over these names quite often in the early stages. Sabonis against Sampson, and Craig Robinson saves it into Carlisle, the transfer from Maine, and here comes Virginia. Sampson was open, but Wilson didn't see him. Carlisle in trouble. Ball slapped away, and Beleskinier has it. Here's the ball two. Very quickly, good play by Robinson. And I'll tell you, the Soviets don't waste any time at all, Dan.
They get the ball up and down the court very well. They'll keep a lot of pressure on the University of Virginia. Virginia is going to have to get shots at the basket so they're in good, balanced position.
Jovica against Mullen. Good drive on the inside. Sampson, I believe, intimidated him. Here's the outlet to Wilson. He'll probably slow up. No, he's going to pop it. Jovica has it for Russia. Good hands by Wilson. Looking, and I believe there's a foul on the inside.
Excellent defensive play by Othell Wilson. People who followed the University of Virginia last year got used to that type of thing. Wilson took a very tough shot at the basket. He missed it, but he stayed with it, took the ball from Jovica and took it to the basket.
So that is the first foul, and we're just underway. We have no score from Richmond, Virginia. Othell Wilson, a 73% free throw shooter last year.
One thing we also might want to mention, anytime in international rules that it's a two-shot foul, the player actually gets 3 to make 2.
So the Cavaliers break out on top, 2-0 here.
Virginia's in a man-to-man defense. They tried to show a little bit of pressure down court on that particular occasion.
Sabonis against Sampson, but he took too many steps.
Now here Virginia getting the ball in quickly, trying to take advantage of the international rules.
But the Soviets back. Mullen trying to go into Sampson. However, it was off the fingertips of Beleskinier. It will be the University of Virginia's basketball. Wilson, the all-ACC guard, feeding into Carlisle.
Now the Soviet Union is in their matchup zone. It's a 3-2 or a 1-2-2 look.
They change defenses quite often.
They are in a man-to-man now. They showed that zone look, but then went to the man-to-man.
Masked it a bit. Here's Wilson. Still at long range, and of course, I don't know if he's forgotten about the 30-second clock or not.
Well, there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock.
Wilson giving this side to Mullen. And Sabonis has it. Soviet Union trailing Virginia. We are just underway here from Richmond, Virginia. Here's Homicic. Homicic the forward and Ralph Sampson. On the board. Here's Othell Wilson. He'll pop it. And Virginia's quite cold tonight if he's starting out. Here's the Soviets who like to run. I'll tell you, Wilson is everywhere. He went right over the scorer's table.
It's been the type of game we expected so far. The Soviet Union trying very hard to push the ball down the court. The University of Virginia doing the same thing.
Othell Wilson, almost 200 pounds at 6 feet. He's a little fire hydrant out there, but very quick and is all over the basketball floor. Homicic will try the shot again, and this time he makes it. We played about 2.5 minutes in the game. The pass to Sampson. He rolls it in, and there's a foul.
A tremendous pass by Othell Wilson to Ralph Sampson down low. Then just excellent body control by Ralph. A good catch on the run, getting it up, and getting it in the basket against very good pressure.
Ralph Sampson, his first 2 points of the night. You saw the tail end of it there, and of course the foul. Ralph last year, a 61% free throw shooter. Ralph now giving Virginia a 5-2 lead. Here with 17:40 remaining in the first half. Baltus was driving, but I believe Wilson got him from behind.
Walters is deceptively quick. He doesn't look like a real quick player, but as he demonstrated to O'Shell Wilson that time, gave a little stutter dribble out on the side, and Wilson just got him back on his heels a little bit, and he went to the basket and got the foul.
Here's Baltus, the point guard, penetrates as the Soviets do very well. Robinson has the rebound. And the Cavaliers, a 3-on-1 to Mullen. And Mullen is fouled.
An excellent job by O'Shell Wilson. Ralph Sampson did a good job getting out in the lane. The Soviet player who was back on defense was very conscious of Sampson, committed to Ralph. Wilson held the ball until the Soviet did commit, then he dumped it to Mullen. Here you get an opportunity to take a look at it. You can see Ralph Sampson at the bottom of your picture filling that opposite lane. Wilson looks at him, dishes the ball to Mullen. Excellent play.
And the Soviet Union's coach Alexander Gomelski wants to talk things over. With 17:27 left to play in the first half, our score is Virginia 7 and the Soviet national team 2. You're watching the best in NCAA international basketball.
S&K shocks the fashion world again by selling 5,000 prestigious fall suits for a shocking price, Fran.
The shocking price is $119.95, and as you can see, these $119.95 suits are not $119.95 suits. They're $230 three-piece wool and wool blend suits that have just arrived from some very prestigious manufacturers. Would you mind holding this? Do you have any 42 long?
Well, we just seem to have lost Fran to the $119.95 suits, and now for a word on sports. Coach.
This bug's for everybody who puts in a hard day's work. Yeah, just for you. With that distinctively clean, crisp face that says Budweiser. This bug's for you.
Well, when we come back into action, the University of Virginia's Tim Mullen will be at the free throw line. Virginia, as you can see, very quickly out to a 7-2 lead. Mullen was fouled just a moment ago as he started a move on the inside. Mullen started every game for Virginia last year. And he picks up his third point, and it is an 8-2 Virginia lead.
Virginia with a little bit of zone press.
Which you expected.
That has been the book in the past on the Russians, to give the zone press because they like to throw the long pass, and that's what happened.
Again, the Soviets played just last night against Vanderbilt. They have got a monstrous schedule. We'll talk about it in just a minute. And they're not looking too sharp at the moment. Perhaps they're just a bit tired from last night. Here's Carlisle inside to Robinson.
Tremendous move by Craig Robinson. Good strength to get the ball up there. Carlisle making an excellent move along the baseline to get him the ball.
Great move by Robinson. And the Soviets quickly down. Homichis was forced out of bounds, I believe, by Mullen. And I believe that Mullen as well got a hip into him. So that's the first foul on Mullen.
Carlisle along the baseline. The thing that he does is draw Sabonis to him to give Robinson the opportunity to be moving toward the basket, and he just makes a great shot.
We're back live. Here's Felix Skinner working against Robinson. Sabonis is there. And here comes the Cavaliers. Carlisle has it. Jimmy Miller preparing to enter the game for Virginia when we have a break in the action. Trying the alley-oop, but Sampson is there anyway.
That's just an incredible play. I thought they'd thrown the ball out of bounds, but Ralph really climbed upstairs to grab it and put it in against pressure.
And Virginia leads by 10 points at 12-2. Here's Jovica at long range. Sabonis underneath, and as he goes up, he is fouled. Ralph Sampson is going to be whistled for his first here this evening.
Virginia players, particularly Tim Mullen, are saying that Sabonis pushed off against Ralph Sampson. The official Joe Forte didn't see it that way. Sabonis, the first two plays of the game, got the ball down inside against Sampson as Ralph now comes out for a little bit of a breather, and Kent Needland comes in. The first two plays of the game, Sabonis got the ball against Ralph, tried to take it to him. Ralph intimidated the shot both times. Good play by Sabonis to come right back.
Sabonis is the leading scorer on the Soviet team on this tour, averaging 18 points a game and 9 rebounds. And the Soviets, not a lot of points here in the early going. Sabonis will try to make it 12-4, and he does. Evelyn, as you mentioned, number 30 in the lineup, as well as number 4, Jim Miller.
And number 15, Ricky Stokes.
And number 15, Ricky Stokes, yes.
Virginia making some wholesale substitutions.
And much smaller with Sampson out. Here's Stokes. He's quick. Jimmy Miller, a sophomore out of Princeton, West Virginia. This is Robinson. No place to go. Stokes, a nice pass to Jimmy Miller. Sabonis has it for the Soviets, and it's a 2-on-2. Belastinia wisely holds up. This is Jovica against Miller. Miller gave him a couple extra feet, which he shouldn't do because Jovica will take that shot all night, and he'll make most of them.
The Soviets like to get the ball down the court and shoot it quickly, but so far in this game, I think maybe they're going a little too quickly.
Here's Robinson. He's cut off by the big 7-2s on the inside. Ricky Carlisle, his first 2 points of the night. And quickly, Walters answers with 2 for the Soviets. 14-6. Virginia leading. Stokes almost traveled there. Pretty young lineup out there right now.
Sure is. The Soviet Union back to the zone now. It's what we were describing before. It's a 1-2-2 or a 3-2 set. They do an excellent job matching up. Really hurt Indiana with this defense, forcing Indiana to work the ball around until the 30-second clock was about to expire and then take tough shots.
Here's Miller at the key as time ran out of the clock. And a fabulous play underneath.
Matter of being in the right place at the right time. Jimmy Miller took a bad shot. Of course, he had to take it because the 30-second clock was running out. Actually, it was an air ball. Carlisle just happened to be standing there.
Belastinia working against Robinson, and as he goes up, Robinson got him on the arm. Of course, last year, Virginia did not play with a 30-second clock. This is the first time they've looked at it. You think they're just not quite used to it. They're aware of it, but not really. It's not inbred in them yet.
I would think that they are going to have a difficult time attacking the zone with the 30-second clock because the basic philosophy of Terry Holland and many other coaches against the zone is to be patient against the zone and to create good opportunities. That's one of the reasons why the 30-second clock and the three-point rule is in the ACT this year, because too many people were too patient.
Belastinia at the line. Alexander Belastinia averaging 15 points a game. Of course, as you know, he has 3 shots to make 2 here.
Belastinia is really a big, strong guy. He's only 23 years old. He looks a little bit older than that. Big banger around the board.
Of course, they left their big 7'5" center, Vladimir Shevchenko, at home in Russia. In fact, he just got married this summer. I don't know if you knew that. He got married to 17-year Liana Semenova, who plays on the Soviet women's team.
No, I didn't know that. I do now. It's nice to know.
16-7 as Belastinia hits one. Trying to go into Sampson, who is re-entered the lineup. And I believe Sabonis was guilty of reaching over.
Virginia looks to get the ball in. Sabonis does not agree with the call. Alexander Gamelski, who you see there, probably doesn't either. Sampson had good position down inside. Sabonis reached from behind, and normally, even if that isn't a foul, it looks like one, so that's going to be the call.
14-22. We're in the first half in Richmond, Virginia. The Cavaliers with the basketball and the Soviet national team. We welcome you wherever you're joining us around the world.
Soviets continue in the zone. Virginia having a little bit of difficulty with it.
Stokes, good hands. This could be 2 here. Here's Homikis. Homikis drives. Oh, what a tremendous play by Stokes. Wilson. Here's Miller.
Great play by Ricky Stokes. He lost the ball, but he never gave up on it. He almost stole it at midcourt and then came back and blocked the shot.
Absolutely fabulous. Sabonis against Sampson. Sampson intimidated him. Homikis will try his luck, and the Soviets are ice cold. Stokes. There's a foul on Homikis as he is going for the basketball. I'll tell you, that Stokes, that was one of the better plays I've seen even in last season. Just very alert.
Ricky Stokes is not generally known as a shot blocker, but you're going to see him make a very good play. Stokes times his leap perfectly, Holmeet just sort of double pumped it a little bit there, gave Stokes the opportunity to get it, but it was a great play.
Stokes at 5'10", the smallest player in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Stokes' shot taken down out of the air by Sabonis. Hampson picks the basketball off. Robinson has it, and he gives to Stokes, and here comes Virginia. Wilson, moving underneath, has the partially blocked shot by Sabonis. Out of bounds, it will go to the Soviet Union.
Very difficult play by Othniel Wilson. He didn't really have anything to do once he got in there against the two big guys. Just threw up a prayer.
12:59 remaining here in the first half. Virginia with an 18-7 lead. We have a new player in the game. He is number 12, Jose Beryusov, for the Soviet Union. Beryusov, number 12.
Foul inside against Kent Needland. He was trying very hard not to trail Alexander Bielosteny across the lane. Virginia, I think we've just seen with Beryusov coming in the basketball game. He's the first Soviet sub. Virginia has been substituting liberally.
Soviet pass from Jovaisha into Beryusov, out of bounds, and will go over to the University of Virginia. And, of course, there you saw that the officials do not necessarily have to touch the ball in certain instances. Miller has his shot blocked. There's a scramble and a jump. Probably Kent Needland will be going against the bonus.
This, of course, is another difference between international rules and NCAA rules. On that type of a play in the NCAA, the ball alternates possession. In the NCAA, you only jump at the beginning of the game and any overtime period.
Stokes had it, but it was knocked out of his hands when he came down. Jovaisha feeding now to Walters, the point guard, who would much rather pass than shoot. This is Sabonis. Nice pass into Beryusov, and there's a foul on the inside against Virginia. That was a fine pass.
We got an opportunity to see the Russian offense work that time the way they like to do it. They spread out the court. They like to hit their big men. Either the big men are going to make a move to the basket or they're going to create opportunities for the smaller players. And that time, Beryusov got the ball inside the Sabonis, cut to the baseline, was open.
Beryusov averaging 6 points a game on this 15-team tour here in November around the nation. He makes it 18-7. And he'll have one more try.
Now, I've got a little bit of a problem here. Rick Carlisle is trying to get in the game for Virginia. He cannot. The only player who can be substituted during a free throw is the free throw shooter. Now, if the free throw shooter's team decides that they're going to substitute, then the other team can substitute.
12:26 remaining here in the first half. Virginia leads it 18-6, and they lead it over the Soviet national team. And we will return to Richmond, Virginia in just a moment.
Right now, federal employees have 3 new ways to make each of their health care dollars go farther. There's Blue Cross and Blue Shield's high option coverage that saves you dollars in hospital with a new lower deductible. And there's Blue Cross and Blue Shield's new standard option coverage that costs less and offers dental coverage for the whole family to save you even more. Dial this toll-free number for facts about Blue Cross and Blue Shield's high option and standard coverage for federal employees.
Last one back by Michelob Light, okay?
You heard her. Come on.
Would anybody really race like this for a beer? Well, it is Michelob Light, the rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Your horse never ran like that before.
He knows my favorite beer when he hears it.
There you see the Cavaliers of the University of Virginia with 12:26 remaining in the half. They are out on top of the Soviet team by a 9-point edge. Dan Bonner, anything that surprises you here?
Nothing is particularly surprising at this point. The Soviet Union is going with a very short bench. They've played 6 men so far. We expected that. Virginia has tried to run up and down. That's been expected too. That's where they were the best last year, and I'm sure that'll be their style when it can be this year. The Soviet Union has slowed Virginia down a little bit. Virginia was really rolling early in the game. The Soviets have gone to the zone, and that's taken the Cavaliers out of their game a little bit so far.
Virginia opening up with Eaton, Miller, Sampson, Stokes, and Carlisle. The Soviets steal and show you very quickly how they can come back. 4 points for Bilyukov. Here's a steal, and very quickly the international rules take over. Richmond almost got caught sleeping there. Virginia did, rather. Sampson high to clear the boards and says, enough of this, let's slow it down and play the American way. Here's Carlisle. Really in trouble. That zone really picking up. That fast zone. Virginia's going to have to slow things down here. Looks like your vice there might have gotten a finger in his eye.
Got a Sampson elbow in his face is what he got. Virginia would like to play quickly, but not in a hurry, and there's a big difference there.
I'd like you to explain that here in just a minute. Carlisle going up, and Bellisteria felt that he got most of the ball, but the official says, nope, you got him on the body as well. Explain that if you would.
Virginia would like to move the ball up the court quickly. To create good opportunities, you don't necessarily have to pass the ball around for a long time before you create good opportunities. Carlisle once again taking the ball down along the baseline. Gets very fortunate here that a foul is called because he really had no place to go. Felix Kenny doing a nice job. He came over with the arm and got a foul called. When you're hurrying with the ball, as opposed to playing quickly, you're running down the court and just throwing up the first thing that's there, and that's not what Virginia wants to do. They're a little bit disorganized the last few times down.
Rick Carlisle, a junior out of Ogdensburg, New York, transferred from the University of Maine 2 years ago. Carlisle has 6 points on the night. The Cavaliers lead 20-11 over the Soviet national team, and we're roughly halfway here in the first half of play from Richmond, Virginia. Bilyukov against Carlisle, and Edelin has it for the Cavaliers. Carlisle is going to be a great addition to this Virginia team. Here's the pass into Sampson. He likes that shot. Intimidated just a bit by Sabonis. Bilyukov has it for the Russians.
Ralph, I think, was a little impatient. Sabonis had excellent defensive position. A turnaround jumper from there with a hand in the face is a tough shot.
Sure is. Bilyukov into the young 18-year-old Sabonis. Fine pass to Bellisteria. Great pass, or Bellisteria, rather. Sergei Bellisteria, Alexander Bellisteria. A fine pass that time from Sabonis.
Sabonis showing you what kind of ability he has. He turned. He wanted to take the shot against Ralph Sampson. He'll go. Notice he really wants to get Ralph up in the air. Ralph still in good position. He waits. He's very patient, though. Finds Bellisteria down inside against Edelin, who commits the foul.
Bellisteria so far on the Soviet tour, hitting 65% of his free throws.
The Soviet Union climbed right back in the game. Virginia up by 6. They did have a 10-point lead at one time.
10:40 remaining in a half. Kenny Johnston now, number 33, is in the lineup for the University of Virginia. He was trying to go to Sampson, but Russia's Walters got a hand in on it. Here's Mullen to Carlisle. Bilyukov is on him. Back out to Johnson. He's taken over the point now, as Othell Wilson and Ricky Stokes have left the lineup momentarily. Johnson looking for Sampson on the inside, but they've got him bottled up pretty well. In fact, they got him sandwiched in there between Bellisteria and Sabonis. But shots like that will bring him out in a hurry.
A real tough shot, a very nice shot by Kenny Johnson, but that's a real tough shot. If the Soviet zone can limit Virginia to that kind of shot, we're really going to have a ball game.
I tell you what, Sabonis, the 18-year-old, can't beat that. Sabonis with 4 points now. And it's a 6-point Virginia lead. An errant pass by the Cavaliers, but they get it back. Mullen, here's Johnson. Sampson has in the corner, and Carlisle is wide open.
Good ball movement by the University of Virginia. Created a good shot for them.
Ricky Carlisle, 6'5", 210-pound junior, is the leading scorer right now in the game with 8 points. Welcome to America, Ralph Sampson says. Mullen, good move inside, and there's going to be a foul, I believe, a charge against Mullen. He ran into Bilyukov there on the baseline.
Mullen made a good move along the baseline, but Bilyukov had position. It was the proper call by the official. On the Ralph Sampson block, the person that really made the play go was Othell Wilson. He came down inside, forced Bellisteria to hurry his shot a little bit. Ralph was able to get it. We have a foul on Mullen against Gulaisi.
And very quickly, my figures have Mullen with 3 quick fouls. Of course, he just had one down on the other end of the floor. Domelsky now sending Voldemar Tomikas back in the ball game whenever there's a break, and sitting down will be Valdis Voltus. There's Jovaika. He's at the line. He is a 28-year-old player. And Jovaika hits a pair. That's his 4th point tonight, 24-18. 9 minutes and 5 seconds remaining here in the first half. Mullen gets from behind, but Carlisle couldn't move inside.
Good inside passing. Nice job by Craig Robinson to get it into Carlisle.
10 points now for Carlisle. He is in the Cavalier in double figures. Robinson going for the basketball, knocked it out. It will remain in the possession of the Soviet Union. Jovaika, Sergei Jovaika.
The Virginia players did a nice job rotating toward the ball that time to try to help out, showing their quickness. Robinson getting a hand on it.
Milostinia to Biryukov. Carlisle kept him off. Let's set it up again. Here's the bonus. Gets the step on Sampson. I believe he took steps or stepped out of bounds.
Steps out of bounds. Virginia hurries the ball in.
But the Soviets are back. The alley-oop to Sampson, and he just missed it. Tomikas quickly. Jovaika was wide open down the floor. However, Tomikas could not find him.
Got a foul on Mullen. The crowd reacting a little bit. Ralph Sampson, as he came down from that alley-oop attempt, came down on top of Jose Biryukov. Biryukov pushed him.
We're going to see the attempted alley-oop. Boy, here comes everybody in the
This is really a tough play. That's from half court. And as Ralph comes into your picture, you'll notice that he's surrounded by Soviet players. Just not quite there. He'll come down on top of Biryukov. You can see him hit Biryukov in the face quite by accident, but that didn't make Biryukov feel any better.
Now yes, he did. The University of Virginia now has a whole new lineup in. Ken Edelin, number 30. Dan Merrifield, number 51. Stokes, number 15. Number 44 is a young freshman, Kim Lynn-Biot. And also Jimmy Miller, number 4, is in there for the University of Virginia. Jimmy Lynn-Biot, the only new, in fact, the only freshman on the Virginia lineup. You'll see him. He's number 44, a freshman, out of Woodstock, Virginia, Central High School. The missed free throw, and here come the Cavaliers. Ricky Stokes giving to Merrifield. We'll try to identify these players as we go until you get used to them. Evelyn back to Merrifield, into Stokes, number 15. Lynn-Biot working along the baseline. You can't see him in the screen. He had the ball and lost it out of bounds. The Soviets have it. 7:58 remaining first half. This is Biryukov. And it's the bonus. They should work on him now that Sampson is out of the game. Bielostenier put the basketball up, and it was an offensive foul on Bielostenier.
Bielostenier can't believe the call, but he did elbow inside. Go for it and called it.
And we have a break in the action. Yes, we do. With 7 minutes and 50 seconds left to play in the first half. Our score, Virginia 26, the Soviet national team 19. You're watching the best in international basketball.
Problem, Hattie?
Can't see those bells. Right?
You could have bought Uncle Ben.
I'm surprised.
Uncle Ben's converted brand is different. Look, this rice is sticky. Uncle Ben's is separate. Uncle Ben's steams away starch to help keep your rice from getting sticky.
Hattie, play for your good cooking anytime.
No need of Uncle Ben, say Uncle Ben.
Recently, in a nationwide taste test, Diet Cola drinkers were asked to taste the leading Diet Colas. Then we asked which Diet Cola tasted best. And guess what? More people preferred the taste of Diet Rice.
Be sure to look in the special insert in this week's newspaper for a coupon worth 30 cents towards your next purchase of delicious RC Cola or sugar-free Diet Right Cola.
Back at the Richmond Coliseum, along with Dan Bonner, I'm Scott Hatch, some 10,000. And where's that number at there? 10,760. Fonte Williams had here tonight at the Coliseum. I've had enough problem with just these pronunciations. Don't throw any more numbers at us. Virginia still with that relatively new lineup in. Here's Merrifield. And the Soviets feel it. Boy, they do this so well. Jovica. And he got robbed of one there. Ken Edlin has it for the University of Virginia. Jovica staying back, offering just enough pressure to bother you. Some of the fans thought that he perhaps reached over the shoulder, but no call.
Virginia still hasn't solved the Soviet zone. They look tentative.
Soviets still staying within striking distance. Only a 7-point game. And Lambia, the freshman, stepped on the inline. And here come the Russians. Valdemaras Tomicic, number 15 with a basketball. He gives to Jovica. So, littlest man on the floor has it, but he ran into one of the Soviets. However, they're going to call it against the Russians. Valdemaras Tomicic picking up his first foul of the evening.
Tomicic got right up against Ricky Stokes, right in his hip pocket, actually. As Stokes turned around, he ran into Tomicic, and even in international rules, that's not a change. You have to give that man a little bit of room.
26-19.
Jose Biryukov back in the game for the Soviet Union. Sergei Yevaitis sits down, take a rest.
Lambiot saw an opening and took it in. Miller was battling with Sabonis for the rebound. However, the Soviets come up with it. They give to Valters, who is the point guard. Tomicic. This is Biryukov from the side. Sabonis and Miller were battling, and I believe Jimmy Miller backed in. No, they're going to call it on Sabonis.
And that's a good call. Miller very conscious of Sabonis' presence inside. As the shot went up, he turned around, he found his man, he got his back up against him. Sabonis was forced to come over the top.
Ralph Sampson preparing to come back in the lineup for Virginia along with Ricky Carlisle. And I believe
an indication you can't see Jimmy Miller. It really creates the play before what you can see here by taking the step toward his man, blocking him out, forcing him to come over the back. Now that's the ninth foul of the half against the Soviet Union. So from now on, Virginia will be shooting 2 shots. It's not a 1-on-1 situation. They'll have 2 shots.
And Miller is the man to step to the line, looking to increase Virginia's 7-point lead. Jimmy Miller and I lived in the same hometown in Princeton, West Virginia. I did play-by-play for the high school whenever he was a sophomore. He had fluffy long hair then, and looks like he's got a permanent tonight. Fine ball player. Was the player of the year in West Virginia, led Princeton High School to a state championship. Miller did get one of them. That is his 3rd point of the night. It is 27-19, Virginia.
Virginia showing a little bit different kind of pressure that time. They're in man-to-man.
Here's Valters. Tomicic. Tomicic in trouble. He's cut off. He goes back to Valters. Into Vilastinier. Sampson is there for the rebound. Here's Carlisle. Carlisle holding up. Sampson was out of position or he would have gone to it. New player in the ball game is Doug Newberg, number 32. Newberg, number 32. This is Carlisle.
The big guys inside are very conscious of Ralph Sampson. Sampson right at the moment is standing next to Sabonis, but Belasteni is looking that way constantly.
They know who he is. Newberg feeding back out front to Carlisle. Not a good shot, out of his range. There's a scramble, and I guess a jump ball. Sampson is, no, I beg your pardon, that's Edlin on the floor. And Alexander Vilastinier will be moving in against him. Vilastinier is 7'2", as you get a look at the Virginia bench. And Kent Needland.
Doug Newberg's entry into the game has now meant that every player who's dressed tonight for Virginia has played. Ringo Smith, the only other player on the roster, has a sprained ankle and is not dressed tonight.
So scoring on the alley-oop to Ralph Sampson. And I believe a goaltending call is going to be against the Soviet Union, and Sampson has his 7th point of the night.
Sabonis is mad. He doesn't think that was goaltending.
One point that was brought up on the CBS telecast on Monday, double dribble, is the foul against Russia.
And you can see Ricky Stokes trying to catch the ball from Valters. That's really an interesting play. It was a violation. Stokes was trying to get the ball to take it out of bounds because Virginia actually had a 2-on-1 break. Valters wouldn't give him the ball.
Very alertly saw the situation. That's right. But the point that was made on the CBS telecast was the fact that international players, the Soviets, many times argue amongst themselves on the floor, and the term was crybaby. I don't know if that's exactly a good term, but they do argue, and they're very vocal about their emotions, especially on the floor. Carlisle, a bad shot. Milostinye has it, and he feeds out to Homicius, and here come the Russians as they trail by 10 points. Walters to Homicius. This is Jovica inside Sabonis. Pretty move. But here comes Virginia. Just rolled off. Stokes trying to go to his left. It's held up by Walters, and the foul is going to be called against Walters, number 10.
The Russians have much more quickness on this team than they did on the team that toured the United States the last time. But we're seeing, particularly here, as the half gets along, there's 5 minutes and 4 seconds left in the half. I think it's a combination of Virginia's extreme quickness and maybe the fact that the Soviet Union's guards are a little bit tired. But Virginia's beginning to take advantage of plays like that. They're stealing the ball. The Soviet guards are getting in a little bit of foul trouble.
How important is this game to Virginia?
That's really hard to say. I really think that the Virginia players, knowing that they're ranked number 1, would want to come out here and just really buck the Soviet Union, show everybody, hey, look, we are number 1. But it is a preseason game. Virginia's obviously trying to play everybody on the roster, see what people can do, and you have to keep in the back of your mind all the time that it is a preseason game. They don't have to win.
But this is one Terry Holland would like to have. I'll guarantee you that. Virginia applying some excellent pressure. Stokes, though, just a little bit too close to Jovica, and the foul is going to be called on Ricky Stokes, and that is his first. They have the 10th foul on the University of Virginia here in the first half.
Virginia trying to pressure the Soviet Union all over the basketball court. Ricky Stokes almost gets one. Jovica didn't see him there. Stokes just came across the wrist a little bit, but a good double team by Virginia.
Jovica has 5 points for the night. Jovica has 6, and 4 of those have come at the free throw line. 31-21. Cavaliers have led by 10 points several times, as they do now. Carlisle is going to be fouled by Jovica, and Jovica, as you can see, obviously not very happy at all about that call. The foul on that man, Sergei Jovica, that is his second so far of the evening.
Good break for the University of Virginia that a foul was called on that play. This is an excellent double team. You can see Homicius and Jovica. Jovica appears to have all ball there, but there's the foul. He pulls the ball away. Jovica gets him across the arm, but that was really a textbook way to get the double team. Homicius closed in, sealed it off. Jovica, however, made a mistake of reaching in behind and fouling.
Ricky Carlisle, the first time in a Cavalier uniform tonight, is really putting on a show for the Virginia fans. He's got 12 points already, leading scorer for the Cavaliers. In fact, leading scorer in the game by far. Sampson has 7. We have a new player in the ball game. That is Nikolai Deryugin, and if he received the pass, number 8, he took steps and committed a foul.
He wasn't ready to play when he caught the basketball. They caught him sort of in between steps. As he got it, he came to a stop. Suddenly he couldn't pivot, and he was really in trouble.
We'll explain what CCCP means. You know, you always see that on their jerseys. You know, you think of USSR, but we'll explain CCCP here in just a minute. Sampson's shot will not go. Evelyn tipped it up, and here come the Soviets. Homicius giving the Walters, and Russia will set up.
I hope you're going to explain what CCCP means.
I've worked on it all afternoon. Rest assured. Trust me there. Homicius giving into Deryugin. Here's Walters against Othell Wilson. Palestinian Hanson blocks it. Carlisle, 3-on-2.
Now that's got the crowd off their feet. A classic great play. Ralph Sampson with the block on one end, Virginia getting the ball up the court, showing you what kind of an athlete he is to get down the court on that break.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I cringed at that one, and I was 50 feet away. The crowd still going after that tremendous move by Ralph Sampson.
That's important for the Soviet Union to get a good shot. They don't want to let the game get away from them at this point.
It's a 35-21 lead. Jovica's shot will not fall, and Evelyn has it. Here's Wilson. Wilson wide open is Carlisle. Carlisle just a bit off. Odell Wilson and some tall timber. They leave him wide open. The Soviets are just standing around. Sampson kisses it off the window. Look at this. This is 5 rebounds on this trip down. Schultz to behind the back pass, and Wilson's shot was off, but there was a whistle before the basket by Sampson.
The foul's on Nikolai Deryugin. He came out and fouled Odell Wilson, taking the shot from the corner. The Soviet Union is just tired. They are really exhausted, and I think you could see it on that particular series.
And they want to talk things over with 3:05 left to play in the first half. Our score, Virginia 35, the Soviet national team 21. You're watching the best in international basketball.
Nicola Bright to the winners this time, huh?
Oh, you enjoy being buried in the sand.
Would good friends really play this hard for a beer? Well, it is Michelob Light, the rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
The sea, the sun, the sand,
The set.
the set.
I'm burning up, you got me burning up. Burning, baby, yeah. I'm burning up, you got me burning up. Burning up.
Dixie. Here, 96. FM.
35-21. We're back in Richmond, Virginia. I'm Scott Hatch. Dan Bonner. Gomelski called a timeout. What did he tell him?
I think he wanted to tell him to just calm down a little bit. That when he said that the Soviet Union had to get a good shot the last time down the court, Yavaitsa didn't. Here we're going to get an opportunity to see a tremendous play by Ralph Sampson. Excellent pass inside to Bellasceni, but when you have a guy like Ralph Sampson, that erases it all. Virginia got the ball down the court very quickly. Carlisle back to Sampson with the big windmill dunk.
Never get tired of watching that play. Ralph Sampson, the consensus player of the year the last 2 seasons. And I think he surprised just about everyone by finishing his college career here at Virginia.
Well, it's probably true. Everybody was sort of the opinion that he would go, but he's been a tough guy to figure with that particular decision every year since he's been in school. So he showed on that last play, that dunk, why he is such a great player. It's because he gets up and down the floor so well. Of course, he's got a lot of other abilities, but there's a lot of big guys that just don't get up and down the court.
This is Kent Needland, number 30 for Virginia. Well, he didn't even come close to that one. Needland, a junior out of Alexandria, Virginia, went to Mayfield High School. Normally, about a 60% free throw shooter. And he's 0 for 2. Moen has it, though, for the Cavaliers. 3 minutes exactly remaining here in the half. Quick hands on the inside. The Soviets have the basketball. Quickly, Yavaitsa trying to go on the inside, but it was swatted away, and it will remain in the hands of the Soviet Union.
In that last series, Virginia had 5 shots at field goals and then 2 free throws, and they came away with nothing.
Homicius working against Kenny Johnson, and Johnson is guilty of overguarding. That is Johnson's first foul on the night.
You can notice Ralph Sampson's out of the game, Jimmy Miller's out of the game. You have Tim Mullen in there, Johnson in there, Odell Wilson sitting down. Virginia continues to use a lot of substitutes. Deryugin back in. Bellasceni comes out. It's the first break Bellasceni has had. He's got to be a little bit tired.
Well, he looks tired. He really does. Voldemaris Homicius at the free throw line. Homicius with 3 points. There you see Bellasceni on the bench. Homicius with 4. And it is a 12-point Cavalier lead, as you saw.
Now, I might note here at this point, Scott, that Virginia had that little spurt by playing a transition game. Before the Soviets could get back and set their defense, the Cavaliers have had difficulty playing against the Soviets when they've allowed the Soviets to set their defense and get ready in that zone.
The ball knocked out of bounds, so the 30-second clock will begin anew. So, to Johnson. Not a lot of movement on the inside. Robinson and Edlin are the forwards right now, or the middlemen for the University of Virginia. And they're just sort of standing inside. Here's Tim Mullen along the baseline. He likes that shot. However, Yugen has the rebound for the Russians. And here comes the Soviet Union. Walters have not seen a lot from him tonight. The bonus, the big 7-2. Into Yugen, pretty move. There you saw the offensive work.
Great pass inside. The Soviet big players do that so well. They look for each other on the rolls down inside. Excellent pass by Sabonis.
Good experience for a lot of the new University of Virginia Cavaliers right now. We're down to a minute 40. It is a 10-point Cavalier lead. Edlin. Inside. The shot is put up by Johnson. Kind of a Hail Mary shot, and he is fouled as the ball goes up. The foul, I believe, was on Sabonis.
Ralph Sampson re-enters the basketball game for Virginia. Once again, Kenny Johnson just sort of threw it up. It was a good play to get the ball up there. But it's not the kind of shot that you work your offense to get against that zone.
Rick Carlisle coming in the ball game as well. You know, we were down last week. I was down with Herschel Walker at the University of Georgia doing a television story on him. And I am under the impression, and I talked with Vince Dooley, the coach, about this, and he was in agreement that Herschel Walker's greatest contribution to the University of Georgia, of course, is the yardage, but it's what he makes the other players around him, the confidence that he instills. And I think that's pretty much the same with Ralph Sampson. He makes players around him better.
I think that's true of any great player, no matter what sport it's in, or any great leader in any phase of life. They make the other people around them better.
And that is certainly the case here at UVA. They were an ACC doormat before Terry Holland took over. Now they're the preseason ranked #1 team in the country. Homnichuk picking up his 6th point of the night. And it is a 9-point lead. The Cavaliers have been up by 14, but the Soviets have cut it down to 9 now.
Soviet Union looked like they were going to get blown out a couple of minutes ago. They've done an excellent job getting back into the ballgame. And again, they've done it. That was a kick on the inside. Again, the Soviets have done it by limiting the Virginia transition opportunity.
And Virginia has scored just 1 point in the last 2 minutes. Then it comes to Ralph Sampson. And Ralph is really short on that shot. Mullen, here to Sampson. And Sampson let it roll off his fingertips. He was short on a slam. The Soviets have a chance to cut this thing now to a 7-point lead going into the half. But Sampson has it. Walters, pretty play, 2-on-1. Yugen takes it in. Yugen with 4 points. And it is a 36-29 ball game. 36 seconds remaining here in the first half. Sergei Yovaisha is going to be whistled with a foul, and I have him as being his 3rd foul here in the first half. Yovaisha reaching around.
Talked about the matchup before the game between Sabonis and Ralph Sampson. Now, Sabonis has had some help inside against Sampson, but Sabonis has done an excellent defensive job against him. That last missed dunk that Ralph had is an indication that he's pressing on the inside a little bit. Ralph with 7 points, Sabonis with 4 points.
Not a great scoring matchup, but as you said, he has done a whale of a job defensively. 37-29. The Soviets can really come close on this one. Sabonis puts it up, and Mullen fouls him. Sampson, I don't know if he got caught in a pick, but he was a little late there, and Mullen fouled him as he went up.
Mullen has fouled out of the game. That's 5 fouls on Tim Mullen.
Yes, he has. So Mullen has fouled out of this game.
Soviets continue. They really keep the pressure on the fast break. You see Mullen reaches in and hits Sabonis across the arm. Once again, Ralph Sampson was in good defensive position. There's probably a bad foul by Mullen in that situation.
Sabonis is at the line.
You know, Scott, no matter what happens in this game, Tim Mullen is going to get some unbelievable ribbing from his teammates about fouling out with 27 seconds left in the first half.
I'll tell you. Sabonis has one more shot, and under international rules, 3 to make 2.
That's 3 to make 2 on the shooting foul.
On the shooting
These
foul,
two
yes.
shot fouls that they shoot after on the 9th foul of the half are not 3 to make 2.
Jimmy Miller, who is now in the lineup for Mullen, who has fouled out. They call Miller and Mullen the M&M boys. They both come in at forward. Here's a fine play. Homicius steals. Look at the passing. It's very good. Jovaisha there with a layup. Jovaisha with 8 points, and it's 37-33. 4 points, or 4 seconds remaining in the half. And Carlisle trying to go into Sampson, and the horn sounds. And that is the end of the first half. With our score, Virginia 37, the Soviet national team 33.
The competition I'm facing is the Central Fidelity Bank's International Tennis Tournament. I have to get to the practice court early, but if I were you, I'd get my tickets early, too. 24 of the world's top players will be competing December 6th through the 12th for $125,000 in prize money, and you won't want to miss it.
Central Fidelity International Tennis. Tickets on sale now at the University of Richmond's Robins Center.
You know, Martinez won this tournament twice, but this year I'm going to give it my best shot.
This Bud's for everyone who's got the heart and courage to go the distance. Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp face that says Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
This is a TV8 Live Eyewitness News Brief brought to you by McDonald's. Now, here's Janet Peckinpah.
Good evening. The head of the American Farm Bureau Federation says he thinks the American government should treat foreign farmers the way they treat us. Robert Delano was in Richmond today to say the U.S. should match trade barrier with trade barrier. That's the only way to ensure the profitability of the American farmer, according to Delano. Now, let's take a look at our TV8 telephone poll for this evening. This question is for women only. Do you perform regular self-examinations for breast cancer? Call our number and answer yes or no. And tonight at 11, we'll have the results. Now this.
Have you tried McDonald's Chicken McNuggets? They're great.
So full.
I love it.
I dug it.
Chicken McNuggets.
Join us for an Eyewitness Extra tonight at 11 on What Every Woman Fears.
At the Richmond Coliseum, where the University of Virginia has seen a 35-21 lead escape them. Right now, it's 37-33. And Dan Bonner, some sloppy play perhaps at the end by the University of Virginia. Well,
a little bit of that and some excellent play by the Soviet Union.
Yes.
They were down by 14 points at Virginia at 35-21. It looked like they might get blown out of the basketball game. They did an excellent job coming back. They were able at that point to make Virginia play against their set defense, and they have demonstrated tonight that as long as they can do that, they can stay in the basketball game.
Of course, as we were alluding to earlier in the ball game, Sabonis and Sampson, and you were talking about the excellent defense that Sabonis seems to have put on Sampson for much of the first half.
He's getting a lot of help inside from Alexander Bilasteny and Nikolai Deryugin. When Deryugin is in the basketball game, they're making it, the outside people are making it difficult to find a passing lane to get him the ball. But when Sampson has had the basketball, he hasn't done much with it.
Dan Bonner, you can certainly tell that he's the one that played basketball, and I'm the one that played football. It looks like Tattoo here sitting beside you. We'll be back with more halftime activities from the Richmond Coliseum in Richmond, Virginia, right after this message.
So exciting about RC100 Cola.
Nothing.
RC100's got nothing. No sugar and no caffeine. RC100's got nothing.
It's like nothing I've ever seen.
If you haven't tasted caffeine-free RC100,
You have tasted nothing yet.
RC100's got nothing. It's got nothing but taste.
Thanks for nothing.
Low 10.75 interest plus cash rebates on many remaining 82s. That's the news from Witten Brothers, and it means you'll never pay less for a new Lincoln or Mercury. This special offer includes Lynx, America's most wanted economy car.
cash rebates, and low interest make Lynx more affordable than ever. Witten has Continentals, wagons, Capris, and more, all with 10.75 interest as standard equipment. Richmond's best deals are written by Witten. But you knew that.
This man is looking for his life insurance policy. He wants to compare it with the Challenger, the universal life policy from Life of Virginia. Are his premiums flexible? The Challengers are. Can he change coverage as his life changes? Does he get competitive current interest rates on his cash value? Ask your agent to compare your policy with the Challenger. You can look a long time and not find a better life insurance policy. The Challenger from Life of Virginia.
Beatico Creek, Louisiana, and Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Beatico Creek means bass, fat and tasty, and Milwaukee means beer, cold, crisp, old Milwaukee beer, and the smooth golden light taste of old Milwaukee Light. Old Milwaukee. And old Milwaukee Light.
Let me tell you, it doesn't get any better than this. Here from the Richmond Coliseum, it is produced by the Nike Athletic Shoes people, and we have a look at one of the great athletes in the world, Carl Houston, or Carl Lewis of the University of Houston.
The legendary Jesse Owens has one man dominated the sport of track and field like this man. His name is Carl Lewis. He's run the 100 meters twice at 10 flat. He's jumped over 28 feet more times than any other human. In fact, for those events at sea level, Lewis has the best times and measurements in the world. But with all the success he has earned in the field and on the track, there are still two goals for Carl Lewis. Undisputed world records in the 100 meters and the long jump.
I think he's got the velocity, and I think that his movements in the air are good. Now we just got to get the right angle of takeoff, to give him the big jump. We're not far off.
This is Tom Tellez, Carl's coach at the University of Houston. Recently, Tellez and Lewis went to Nike's Biomechanics Laboratory in Exeter, New Hampshire, to have shoes made specifically for Carl's needs. Using special cameras and high-speed film, Nike's researchers, led by Dr. Tom Clark, collected information that would be crucial in the making of a shoe.
We don't have any idea of how much force is being exerted, or what the speed of the foot is coming into the relative to the board, whether he's brought it to a stop or what speed he's moving forward relative to the board. We don't know any of that stuff, so we're really just getting some fundamental information that can help us.
The final series of tests involved a system that measures the impact of the foot with the ground. Called force platforms, these impact measuring devices are interfaced with the laboratory's computers.
Set. Go.
Results of these tests are shown on this graph. The curve shows the first and last points of impact of Carl's foot with the ground.
2/10 of a second, and I assume that's going to go down with every step out on the block.
After Nike's researchers collected all the necessary data, it was fed into the digitizer. Linked to a computer, The digitizer enabled Dr. Tom Clark to analyze the film frame by frame to find the exact points of stress on Lewis's feet while in motion.
We found from film analysis that Carl is actually moving, his foot is actually moving forward relative to the ground at 2 meters per second when he hits the ground. That means that there's a lot of force, fore and aft force that's being generated with a very small touchdown area just on the outside board of his foot. So that's the type of information that we can use to try and go back and design some shoes that will have support which will meet the demands of that type of stress.
In the months to come, Carl Lewis will get closer and closer to those world records that for the moment have eluded him. And Nike's research team will be right there, working with Carl to realize his dream.
What's so exciting about RC100 Cola?
Nothing. RC100 got nothing. No sugar and no caffeine. RC100 got nothing. It's like nothing I've ever seen.
Did you ever taste that caffeine-free RC100?
You ain't tasted nothing yet.
RC100 got nothing. It's got nothing but taste.
Thanks for nothing.
Buying a stereo from some stores is like the fast food shuffle.
That's a 40-lab receiver with five.
At Gary Stereo, experts answer all your questions about receivers, cassette decks, and speakers. Gary's complete stereo systems are ready to rock and roll or to elegantly soothe your soul. Gary's award-winning service fine-tunes your purchase for superior performance. Gary's delivery makes it easy to bring home the finest stereo and video. Gary's nationally recognized expert since 1939.
This bug for everyone knows they've got what it takes to get the job.
This bug for you. For all you do, the king of business coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser. Hey, this bug's for you.
There's a hungry kind of feeling, and every day it grows. You know there's so much more to you than anybody knows.
In the Army, we do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
Hey, First Sergeant. Good morning. Slugging it out for the World Junior Middleweight title on December the 4th. Later in the month, the Allman Brothers Band steps into the spotlight for a special concert appearance. And also, Dallas Mavericks fans enjoy the Mavericks against two of the toughest teams in the NBA. For movie lovers, The French Lieutenant's Woman, starring Meryl Streep, premieres December the 26th. Something for everyone, only on the entertainment leader in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, View Subscription TV. Back at the Richmond Coliseum in Richmond, Virginia, along with Dan Barner, I'm Scott Hatch, 37-33. And Dan, Virginia had a chance to blow it away. In fact, with just 3 minutes left in the half, a 14-point lead. But they scored 2 minutes in the last, 2 points rather in the last 3 minutes of play.
Coach Kamelsky from the Soviet Union called a timeout at that point, made a substitution, got Sabonis back in the basketball game. And I think one of the things that they talked about during that particular break in the action was he told his players that they needed to stop turning the ball over to Virginia and that they needed to take good shots. That does two things. If you take good shots at the basket, even if you miss, your teammates are in rebounding position and position to fall back on defense. Obviously, if you're not turning the ball over, then all your teammates are going to be in position to get back on defense. Now, when that happens, Virginia can't run their fast break game. The Russians are allowed to set up on defense, and Virginia has had a little bit of difficulty attacking that zone in a set situation. We might also point out, with the 30-second clock, it's difficult to attack a zone that's going to play that way in 30 seconds, which is why the Atlantic Coast Conference coaches put in the three-point shot. That is, now they're a little bit worried about it, whether it's too close or not. But the primary reason was to prevent a team with the 30-second clock from collapsing back into the zone. Virginia has not really made that many shots tonight, even with the short, quote-unquote, short three-point play that would meet that requirement.
Let's look at some halftime statistics here, the official ones, and what stands out in your mind.
Well, obviously the field goal percentage. The University of Virginia shooting 37% from the field. The Soviet Union 28%. That's not what we would have normally expected. Virginia with a big edge in rebounds, and I'm a little bit surprised that Virginia's got more turnovers than the Soviet Union. The Soviets, while they only have 9 turnovers, they've all seemed to have come in bunches.
Well, the producer wants to know what CCCP means. You know, if you look on the jerseys, or the playing jerseys of the Soviet Union's team, you always see CCCP, the letters. Now, in Russian, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics is pronounced Soyuz Sovietsky Socialistic Republic. Now, that is SSSR. Now then, the problem is the American equivalent of the S in Russian is the C, okay? And the equivalent of the R is the P. So consequently, you have CCCP, Soyuz Sovietsky Socialistic Republic, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. What do you think, Dan Bonner? Aren't you impressed?
I'm very impressed. You got a little chance to see the Soviet players there warming up. They do look a little bit tired. We commented on it when they got off the airplane this afternoon, when they were at the motel. They just look a little bit tired. We're going to have to see what kind of a factor that's going to be in the second half, because they did a great job to come back against Virginia in the first half.
They really have a tremendous schedule here. Of course, many of you saw them on national TV against Indiana on Sunday. Last night, they beat Vanderbilt 102-89. Tomorrow night, tonight, of course, Virginia. Tomorrow night, Illinois up in Champaign, Illinois. November the 20th, they're taking on Purdue. That's Saturday in West Lafayette, Indiana. The 21st, they take on Kentucky in Lexington at Rupp Arena. And boy, that'll be someplace to play with that 23,000 seat Rupp Arena there. And then on November the 22nd, close out their American tour, taking on the Hawkeyes and Iowa City, Iowa, the University of Iowa. So you can see that they are some tired honchos there. You want to read this?
That's okay. You're doing such a good job. You go right ahead.
Well, the rights to this telecast have been purchased by Sports Productions Incorporated of Dallas, Texas, from the Amateur Basketball Association of the United States of America. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without written consent is prohibited. The announcers on this telecast have been contracted and paid for by Sports Productions Incorporated of Dallas, Texas. So here we go.
Got a little bit of a different starting lineup for the Soviet Union here in the second half. Now, I didn't see whether Sabonis got hurt or what happened in the first half, but Belisteny is going to jump center against Sampson, and we see Nikolai Deryugin starting in place of Arvydas Sabonis here in the second half.
So, once again, it's 37-33. You see the score, and Sampson's lost both jump balls. Hadn't timed them here. Walters, very quickly for the Soviet Union, takes the shot. Ralph has it. Carlisle comes out for the Virginia Cavaliers, trying to go on the baseline to Othell Wilson. And he heads into a sea of photographers, and here come the Russians. A lot of movement here in this international game at times. And it goes to Deryugin. The turnaround shot is good, and Deryugin now has 6 points, and it is a 2-point ball game. A 2-point game. Virginia did have a 14-point edge with 3 minutes to go in the half. Carlisle wide open underneath is Robinson. The shot is blocked by Belisteny. Fine play by Belisteny. Here's Homicic to Jovaisha. Walters doesn't shoot often. Sampson is high in the rafters for that one. Beating on the outlet to Othell Wilson. Fine move. Kept up and in by Jimmy Miller.
Good play by Jimmy Miller to follow that shot, hustling down the court. Jovaisha did not block him out, allowed him to get to the basket.
Belisteny against Sampson. Belisteny, number 14. Turnaround. Sampson blocked it. Third block of the night. Good move by Belisteny. He shoved Carlisle. Sampson with 2 straight blocks. And here comes Virginia. Carlisle wide open as Othell Wilson. A little bit hard. And here come the Russians. Walters to Homechis. Sampson is back, though, for Virginia. Deryugin. Pretty shot. Sampson there with a rebound, and we'll jump it. Yovaisha. Sergei Yovaisha, 28 years old at 6'4", in the jump against Ralph Sampson, 7'4" of Virginia.
Ralph Sampson with great defensive play against Alexander Belishcheny. And, of course, one of the ways Virginia can start their fast break, a way that they're very effective in doing it, is off Ralph Sampson block.
It was interesting. Number 14, Belishcheny, moved in to jump for the much shorter Yovaisha. However, the official saw that and pointed him out. Kind of a smile on Belishcheny's face there as he...
Belishcheny got the ball anyhow because he pushed Osel Wilson down, reached over his back, and got the tip.
Here's the shot by Homechis. Jimmy Miller has it and gives to Osel Wilson. Osel nicely passed to Miller, rolls it in, and the Soviet player catches Jimmy Miller and possibly saved him from a pretty good bump on the scorer's table. Deryugin popped Miller underneath.
Once again, a bad shot by the Soviet Union leading to a good fast break opportunity by the University of Virginia.
Here we'll see it again. Now watch Deryugin, number 8, catch Miller.
You can see it's obviously a charge on Deryugin. He was still moving. He put his shoulder into Miller's left leg. Good play by Deryugin, a sportsmanlike play, of catching so he didn't land on his head.
Yes, because there's a lot of photographers in a pretty hard floor just about 3 feet below him. Jimmy Miller. They say he could be one of the greater players ever at the University of Virginia before he's through. He's still got this season and 2 others.
Now, Arvydas Sabonis is trying to get back into the game, but they cannot substitute when Virginia makes a free throw.
That's right. Here's Deryugin on the side, and Deryugin now coming to life.
Great
as he
shot.
picked up two quick buckets. Robinson took steps, I believe. Yes, he did. Robinson receiving the pass from Osel Wilson took steps on the left side of the bucket. And here we go. 42-37, Virginia 5-point lead. Sabonis will come in the lineup when there's a break. Deryugin, Sampson pinned it on the backboard. It should be a goaltend, but no call. Virginia has it. Osel Wilson on the pass from Carlisle. Not a bad pass by Osel Wilson. Here's Balchers all the way in, and Balchers, that is his first basket of the night, Dan. He's averaging 10.3 points a game.
They've done a good job keeping him from getting in good scoring position.
42-39. Robinson in the lane. Nice push-up. And there's a whistle on the inside, and we'll have a foul against the Soviet Union.
Foul's going to be on Deryugin. Deryugin's not very happy about it. That seems to be the area of the Soviet zone that is open. That's that middle area right about at the foul line. Robinson takes advantage of it, turns very strongly to the basket. Deryugin comes and makes him change his shot, but Deryugin jumps into Robinson a little bit and gets the foul. Deryugin is making a point. I believe he's telling his coach, he showed him 4 fingers. I thought he was saying, do I have 4 fouls, but we only have him for 2.
That could be wrong. He may have 3. So I believe in this situation, Robinson has 3 tries to make 2. And he'll need him. Robinson, a 70, normally about a 72-73% free throw shooter.
Robinson just had a great year for the University of Virginia last year, much improved over the previous 2 seasons. And if Virginia is going to attain the heights that everyone is predicting for them, Robinson is going to have the same kind of year this year, if not better. Really got to take the heat off Ralph inside.
Montclair, New Jersey is his hometown. Went to Montclair High School. Robinson has 1 of the 3 and his 3rd point of the night, and it's a 4-point Cavalier lead. Yovaisha gives it down quickly to Deryugin against Sampson, and he holds up. Here's Balters into Deryugin on a turnaround and a pretty shot. Deryugin is really coming to life here, Dan.
Deryugin is an excellent basketball player, one of the leading scorers in the Soviet leagues. He's showing us why.
And he's one of the fine players in America, and he showed us why. Ralph Sampson, his 9th point of the evening. Second slam dunk, if you like those. 16:47 to go in the game. 45-41 Russia. Trailing now, just 45-43. Yovaisha gets the basket, and he's in double figures for the Soviet Union. Carlisle to Wilson. Wilson at 6 feet and some tall timber out there. Here's Robinson for Virginia. And Miller picks up the loose ball, gives back out to Osell. 11 seconds on the 30-second clock. 7 seconds, 6 seconds. Wilson probably will take the shot. Nice fingertip lay in.
Really good play by Osell Wilson. Nice soft touch right up above Sabonis, who is in good defensive position.
Sabonis giving to Jovaisha. He runs out of trouble. And Carlisle is on him. He gives to Walters. Little weave back out to Jovaisha. Carlisle collapses. And he steals it. One-on-one against Tomikas. Back to Miller.
Great court sense by Rick Carlisle. He forced Tomikas to guard him and then flipped a little pass back to Jimmy Miller. Nice play.
Alert play by Miller to trail him at just the right distance as well. Fine play by Virginia. Inside rifle pass that goes to Jovaisha. And a reverse layup by the 28-year-old. 12 points for him. It's 49-45. The pace picked up. Sampson had a shot blocked there. You don't see that very often.
Well, Ralph really wasn't trying to shoot the ball. He went up and realized that Sabonis was in very good position, was trying to kick it back out, and Sabonis got a hand on it.
Here's Robinson inside against Deryugin. Sampson has it underneath. He likes that. Sampson goes, and he's fouled. The foul is on Walters. Sampson now with 11 points.
As the basket will count, they told us before the basketball game that Ralph had gained 7 pounds over last year, that most of it they felt was in his upper body, and we might get a demonstration here of just exactly what they're talking about. Robinson, maybe a little bit of a travel there, but he gets the ball up on the board. Sampson pushes Sabonis out of the way, gets the ball. Now watch him, he'll come up. He gets slapped by Jovaisha, and I believe they probably called the foul on Walters. So he got hit by 2 people, but had the strength to get the ball up to the basket.
Walters, his second foul. There you see Gomelski not really happy with what's going on at the moment. Sampson at 7-4. All everything to just about every preseason poll is picked him as the college player of the year.
Boy, Kent Needland was battling Deryugin for that rebound, and all he got was a very hard elbow in the face. That Deryugin looks like a rough and tumble guy.
Yes, sir. Walters, pretty play. Walters on a fadeaway has now picked up 4 points. It's 51-47 again. A 4-point lead by Virginia. Osell Wilson. Here's Miller working against Deryugin. To Stokes. Wilson. Here's Ralph Sampson inside. Good play by Russia. Here's Walters. 3-on-1. Pretty. Homichis goes up, but Kent Edlund fouls him as he went up, and that is the foul, the second foul on Edlund tonight, and I believe Homichis will stand in the line.
One of the picture-perfect fast breaks. The Soviet Union got a man in the middle, got a man in each lane, got down the court. It was 3-on-1. Jimmy Miller commits way too early at the foul line. Looked like he was trying to pick up a charge. Edlund comes in at the last minute and commits the foul. Good hustle by Edlund to get back there, but just nothing. There's no chance.
Homichis missed the first. Valdemaris Homichis is how you say his name. He's got 7 points on the evening, averaging 12 points a game and just about 4 rebounds per contest. He adds it, 8 points. Well, let's see. We have 14:29 left to play, and there's timeout. Yes, our score is Virginia 51, the Soviet national team 49, and you are watching the best in international basketball.
This Bud's for the Paul Newman Can-Am Racing Team. This Bud's for you. Yeah, while you're watching all the red-hot action, that's the time to cool off with the King of Beers. This Bud's for you.
If your car stays turned on long after you've turned it off, Exxon gasoline can help put a stop to that now. Exxon Unleaded is one unleaded regular that's often good enough to stop sizzling in cars that appear to need premium. So try it and save. And if you still need more octane, try Exxon Extra Unleaded. If you have a car that just won't quit, get Exxon. Quality you can count on.
Thank you for joining us. 14:29 remaining here in the game, and you see there a 2-point lead by the University of Virginia. Now, I'll let you translate those signs. You understand what they mean? Ralph, yes.
I know what the CCCP means now.
Said Ralph, yes, and Russia, yet no. Some very creative artistic students here in the Richmond area. Ralph, Da, Russia, yet.
Still anybody's basketball game. The Soviet Union has done an excellent job since being behind 35-21. They continue to make life difficult for Virginia in that zone.
Wilson to Edlin, and he lays it in. That play was made by Wilson. Fine move.
Great penetration by Osel Wilson. He has a knack for knowing exactly when the proper time to make that inside pass is. It's very difficult passing the ball on the inside like that.
Palestinian has now taken a break. He is out. The Soviets are going with, let's see, Sabonis, Homitis, Walters, Jovaisha, and
Osel Wilson, you can see, draws all the people to him before he dumps it off. The Soviet Union has really picked up the tempo on offense. They're running their people around. The floor is very spread out. They're getting easy shots against the Cavaliers.
Deryugin is the 5th Russian player. The pass went to Walters, and he took steps. Here comes Virginia running, trying to take advantage of this quick turnaround. Osel Wilson drives in and puts it up. Osel Wilson.
Once again, a Soviet turnover results in a Virginia transition basket. That's the way the Cavaliers are going to have to play if they're going to pull away from the Soviet Union.
Here's Sabonis working against Sampson, who's in the lineup. Partially blocked, and Edlin comes down with it for Virginia. Canton Edlin to Wilson. Miller trailing. He likes this shot, but that one's off. Sabonis, the young 17-year-old player, has the rebound. Some of the players, some of the fans thought traveling on the Soviets. Nice pass to Jovaisha. He laid it in, but we'll just have to wait and see on the ruling.
Got an offensive foul on Nikolai Deryugin. Deryugin made one of the cardinal mistakes, whether it be an NCAA basketball or international basketball. He left his feet without anything really to do with the ball. He eventually made a nice pass. Here you're going to see him. He comes inside. He's doing a little turnaround move, but Miller's in great position.
And it cost him a basket. Because that was a fine play. It didn't matter, but Jovaisha had a fine move underneath. Now Palestinian comes back in the lineup for the Soviets. Also in the game for Virginia, I believe, is Ricky Carlisle. And he is number 34. There you get a good look at Palestinian. Carlisle, and Walters is on him to Wilson. To Ricky Stokes to come in the lineup for Virginia. Wilson is wide open.
Soviets went to sleep a little bit over there. That Osel Wilson was alone. That's something we haven't seen too much of tonight.
Wilson will hit that all night. Sampson takes down with a Sabonis shot. Here's Stokes, a fast break by Virginia. He tried to muscle it up and around, and Stokes hits the floor hard. The basket is no good. Stokes is okay, though. And I believe the foul will be called against the Soviet Union.
Virginia's defense once again starting their offense. Sabonis tries to fake out Ralph Sampson a little bit. He drifts to the left and tries to throw the shot back with his right hand. Sampson wasn't fooled. Got the fast break going. Ricky Stokes actually had about a 4-on-1 break. He elected to take the ball to the basket himself. Now he's going to get a couple of free throws, but I think if he'd have dumped the ball back, he may have had a dunk by Miller or Sampson or any of a number of Cavaliers who are coming down the court.
Walters, number 10 for the Soviet Union, was hit with the foul. Stokes last year, pretty good at the line at 74%. He averaged 4 points a game last year for the Cavaliers. 48 assists, stole the ball 35 times, and made quite a contribution. They have one of the deepest backcourts in the nation this year, with Carlisle and Stokes and Osel Wilson.
Cavaliers very quickly now back to a 10-point lead, and they've done it all in the transition with defense creating good opportunity.
Omitis working against Stokes, and he'll pull up. Not a very good shot. He rushed it. Here comes Stokes. Good pass to Carlisle. Carlisle has the ball taken away by Jovaisha. Palestinian now the long pass down. Homitis is wide open against Robertson. And the Soviets maintain control. Walters looks short on that shot. Sabonis there is over Sampson, and he lays it in. 8 points for Arvydas Sabonis.
Sabonis did an excellent job shielding the ball from Sampson with his body. It's sort of a little jump hook shot. very good play. You can see why everybody's so high on him. He's going to be a very good player for the Soviet Union.
Yes, he is. He's only 17 years old.
We've got a technical foul on Valdez Walters. First was a personal foul now. Now, Walters had 3 fouls. The foul is on Walters. The technical is on Walters. He's out of the game. In international basketball, the technical is like a personal. So he's got 5 fouls. He's done for the evening. Now, that's if our count is right.
That's if our count is right, which we might have added 1 extra one there. Ricky Carlisle, nonetheless, will be at the line. Now, I don't know if he is shooting. Well, let's see. He's shooting 2 shots.
In the international rules, a player technical foul is 2. It's 2.
The bench is 1.
That's right.
Just opposite in NCAA.
That's correct. And unlike NCAA basketball, after the second technical shot, the ball is live.
So here's Walters giving to Homicius into Bilastini. Bilastini fouled by Ricky Stokes. Ruled that basket out. It was after the whistle. Stokes now has his second personal foul. And we have a break in the action from Richmond, Virginia with 11:40 left to play in the game. Our score is Virginia 60, the Soviet national team 51. And you are watching the best in international basketball.
Michelob Light for the winners this time, huh?
Oh, you enjoy being buried in the sand.
Would good friends really play this hard for a beer? Well, it is Michelob Light, the rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Sea, the sun, the sand,
The set.
the set. You need Sunshine. You need this car.
When your weekend world's in the middle of nowhere, know what you need?
You need mileage.
You need room.
You need power. You need this room. You need this room. You need it all. We need it. You need Sunshine. We are driven.
They have, the Soviet Union has had just a tremendous tour here. They, of course, 6-1 coming into this game tonight, Dan Bonner. They beat Pepperdine by 5, Oregon by 5, Fresno State by 7, Washington State by 30. Really blew Washington State out. They lost to Wichita State by a point, beat Indiana by 10 on national TV last week. The Vanderbilt team last night by 13. And at this point, they are trailing Virginia by 9 points, 60-51. Along with Dan Bonner, I'm Scott Hatch from the Richmond Coliseum. We welcome you wherever you joined us across the nation or in Mexico or Brazil or wherever you're watching the game. We welcome you to this international telecast. The Soviet Union with the basketball against the preseason top-ranked team in America, the Virginia Cavaliers. Jovaisha, Homicius, Belastinier against Robinson, and he rimmed that one in. Belastinier relatively quiet tonight. 5 points for the big 7'2", 23-year-old out of Kiev. Homicius trying to go to Jovaisha. Virginian got a hand in on it, and the ball will remain in the possession of the USSR.
That's about the 4th or 5th real tough turnaround jumper that Ralph Sampson has attempted this evening, and they've all been short.
Here's the hook pass into Homicius from Sabonis. And we have a whistle, a foul on Stokes, I guess.
That's right.
Yep.
One of the things that the Soviet Union is doing right now is they're pulling Sabonis out. Sampson comes with him to guard him, and that leaves the middle a little bit more open. Ralph's not in there to block shots.
And they're giving it to Belastinier, and Sampson's hit with a goaltend. That's a very, very good point. So apparently that might be what they're trying to do. Move Sabonis out and Sampson out, and then move Belastinier in. 7 points now for Belastinier after that goaltend. Carlisle, I'm sorry.
Soviet Union is back to within 5 points. They're back in a man-to-man. Carlisle. That's a really tough shot. Yavaisha was in good defensive position, but Carlisle faked him, got him up in the air. Here's the Soviet Union trying to get down the court. Sabonis wasn't paying any attention. The ball went out of bounds.
And here's Virginia. Carlisle with 15 points for the Cavaliers. Robinson, he's going to take it all the way in.
Nice little scoop shot by Craig Robinson. Saw an opening. Nobody came to pick him up. Nice job.
If you don't like that, you don't like fried chicken. 10:09 to go here in the ball game. And Virginia has pulled out again to a 9-point lead.
Once again, the Soviet Union putting Sabonis out on the side of the court. Sampson comes out to guard him. It looks like he's trying to get the ball inside to Belisteni against Craig Robinson. Robinson that time committed the foul.
Jimmy Miller looking to get in the ball game here while we do have a break, and I believe they're going to let him.
But they are going to let him. The Russians have the ball out of bounds. Now they can substitute. So they did. Jose Biryukov came in the game. If the Soviet Union substitutes in that situation, then Virginia is also permitted to substitute. So that's why Miller's in the basketball game.
Biryukov is number 12 as we come back into live action. As the pass came into Belisteni, there's a foul on Robinson. Craig Robinson on the inside. I didn't see that.
That's the obvious Soviet strategy. I think it was a good call. Robinson was behind and he was pushing, but the Soviet Union has Sabonis out on the side. They have their guards all out at the top of the key. The middle area is being wide open for Belisteni, and he's just at 7'2". He might be a little too big for Robinson to guard one-on-one.
I believe so. Sabonis and Belisteni in the game. This is Sabonis. And the big men are now going to work. The twin bookends of 7'2" are really beginning to work on the inside here against the University of Virginia. Robinson puts it up and he's fouled.
Good, strong rebound by Craig Robinson, battling Yavaisha and Biryukov for position. He's bigger than both of those gentlemen. He was able to use that size to get two hands on the basketball. Ralph Sampson wheeling to the basket. Once again, excellent defensive pressure. Belisteni's over there. Sabonis is in the area. Ball bounces off the front of the rim. Robinson, good, strong rebound, putting it in. Nobody blocked him out.
So Robinson to the line for the second time tonight. Robinson only has 5 points. He missed his other free throws. He does can that one, though. He's got 6 points. And Terry Holland sees something and wants to talk things over. With 9 minutes and 43 seconds left in the game, Virginia calls a timeout. And the score, the Cavaliers 67, the Soviet national team 57. You're watching the best in international basketball. Stay with us.
If ordinary lead-free gasolines are letting you down when it comes to power, performance, and mileage, give your car a lift with Amoco Premium Lead-Free, the highest octane lead-free you can buy. For high power, high performance, good mileage. And when you pay cash, you save money. Give your car a lift with Amoco Premium Lead-Free, high octane and high performance.
Trail boss on a cattle drive. You put in long days under the big sky, and when the work's over, you head for the mountains. Push. Head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Brewed the natural way, so it's always as smooth as its name. Push. Head for push. Head for the mountains.
And went back and got the Soviets right on the court.
Yavaisha hits as we come back into action just a bit early. Yavaisha with 14 points. And it's 67-59. Virginia with the lead. Othell Wilson against Homicius. He kicks it back out to Carlisle. Biryukov. Jose Biryukov working on him. Robinson's turnaround shot. And Miller, I believe.
Great tip by Jimmy Miller. Once again, Yavaisha didn't block him out. Miller very wisely following the shot to the basket and tipping it in.
12 points for the sophomore out of Princeton, West Virginia, Jimmy Miller.
We now see the reason why Terry Holland called that timeout. Virginia's now in a 1-3-1 zone. They're out of the man-to-man.
Homicius firing over Othell Wilson. That'll pull you out of the zone in a hurry.
Boy, it sure will. They're the Soviet Union guards. Yavaisha, Biryukov, Homicius shoots the ball very, very well. Virginia's going to have to scramble in there to cover that.
8 minutes and 31 seconds remaining here in this game.
Soviet Union once again in a man-to-man.
Here's Robinson. Sampson not moving against, now he is, as the pass comes into Sampson. Sabonis got a hand on it. Sampson now battling for it along the baseline. He sees Miller wide open. Miller hit it, and Miller's hurt his ankle. He sure has. Jimmy Miller has hurt his ankle. He's right in front of us. There you see Carlisle with the ball. Miller there on the left part of your screen. There he is. Jimmy Miller, the sophomore out of Princeton, West Virginia. And it looks like that left ankle. Let's look at it again and see if we can see the injury, perhaps.
Jimmy Miller did have a broken foot earlier in the season. Here, Ralph Sampson again having a lot of problems with the ball inside. The Soviets all over him. Miller takes a step. You can see him. He turns his ankle right there. Coach Holland not wanting to take any chances, gets him immediately out of the game. Also sits Ralph Sampson down for a little bit of a breather.
And Edlin comes in for Sampson and Miller. Here's Othell Wilson. He's got to come alive here. The scoring punch by Virginia has kind of trailed off lately. Homicius, Carlisle left him wide open. Carlisle has the rebound.
That's really a tough shot by Homicius. It would have been a good shot if he was on balance, but he's running at full speed, then he stops and jumps backwards.
Wilson feeding off to Merrifield, who is just in the ball game. Dan Merrifield, and the Soviet Union throws it away. Merrifield saves it to Carlisle.
Good break for Virginia. Merrifield was not under control when he shot the ball. He was bobbling it as he went up. It was not a good shot.
Edlin, nice bounce pass into Robinson. There's that play. I believe they will call that a goaltend.
Now, what they're going to call it, you can hit the ball if it's down in the rim.
That's
and
right.
That's what Joe Forte is showing, that he can hit it while it's on the rim, but not while it's in the rim.
That's right. And that big hand came inside the cylinder and knocked it out. Of course, the Soviets are not really happy with that. Gomelski's up, and I think he's seen better days. Gomelski really not happy with that. Who took that shot?
Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson. Jovaisha answers. Tell you what, Jovaisha, 18 points. He's top point man here in the game. Robinson against Sabonis as the ball slipping out of his hand, and there is no foul. They say perhaps the Sabonis blocked it out, I guess.
Virginia went to that 1-3-1 zone to clog up the middle a little bit, but the Soviet Union, they're hitting the shots from the wing, which are going to be the open shots against the 1-3-1. They're not shy at all about taking them. They've been making Virginia pay for the decision to go to that particular defense.
Merrifield coming to Carlisle, and Biryukov on him.
Robinson really doing a great job working for position down inside. Maybe he got tired of the fact that they were doing it to him down on the other end. He's working hard to get some down in.
Othell Wilson showing while he was an all-ACC guard. Sabonis got it on the way up, and there was a foul on the inside now against Virginia, I do believe. Kent Needland is the man who the foul is going to be whistled against.
Just as we're talking about Craig Robinson, it looks like he has turned his ankle just a little bit, too. 3 Cavalier players around Belisteni. He's a big, strong guy. That's bad play by Virginia. They're not going to take it from him. All they did was foul him. They need to get back on defense.
Sampson comes back in, and I'm surprised to see Jimmy Miller back in the lineup.
A lot of times with that type of thing, you turn your ankle and there's a great deal of pain right at the time you do it, but then you're okay just moments later.
So here's Biryukov against Carlisle. Sampson high for the rebound. He was trying for Othell Wilson, but Walters simply came in, ran over Wilson. There was no call. You can probably hear the fans. And Walters has his 6th point of the night. And again, it is a 6-point Virginia lead. They are just hanging tough right now. Cavaliers 71, Soviets 65. Dan Merrifield, good move in there. Merrifield, not enough oomph on it. Didn't hold his mouth right, I guess. And here come the Russians. Walters, the point guard to Biryukov.
Virginia back to the man-to-man.
Jovaisha to Belisteni. Sampson blocks it out of bounds.
Belisteni got the ball inside, made a very slow move. It was very mechanical. He faked one way, dribbled the other way, coming back, gave Ralph Sampson plenty of time to get over. Was right on top of the ball.
While we were away, Jovaisha went up for a layup. Sampson is going to be charged with goaltending, and Jovaisha is on the floor. You see him there. Sergei Jovaisha did pick up his 20th point. You see him helped up.
Looks like he turned an ankle, too.
Yeah.
This looks a little more serious, though, than the problem that Jimmy Miller had a minute ago.
That's a shame. Yovaisha is such a fine ball player. He'll get a hand as he comes out, and we won't see him anymore tonight. Sergei Yovaisha.
That's the kind of thing I'm sure they're going to get him over to the bench and get some ice on it right away. They've got a tough schedule coming up. Yovaisha has 20 points tonight. He's played very, very well for them on this tour. They really need him the rest of the way.
After Yovaisha's shot was termed good because Sampson was up the goaltend, the Soviet Union has now pulled to within 4 points. It is 71-67. 5 minutes and 43 seconds left in the game.
They're still very much in the basketball game. Every time that it looks like Virginia is about to blow it open, there you see Yovaisha. Nice socks. What, are you kidding me? Blue socks?
I'm impressed. Boy.
Every time Virginia seems ready to pull away, the Soviet Union comes right back.
Here's another steal. The alley-oop to Sampson didn't work that time. Walters getting to Homicius, and just over his fingertips, the Soviets will maintain possession. They say that Othell Wilson also got a hand in on it and went out of bounds.
Excellent defensive help by Sabonis on that last play. He saw that Belistenia was in trouble, came and knocked the ball away from Sampson. That's the way they draw it up on the blackboard.
Walters. Here's Sabonis. Arvydas Sabonis against Sampson, looking for Belistenia. Now Sampson has just a bit of the arm of Sabonis, rather, and the foul is going to be called against Big Ralph.
Well, now, Ralph's complaining about that, but I don't think he has a leg to stand on. He really knocked Sabonis hard.
Sabonis on the floor. Here we go, Dan.
Soviet Union really trying hard to get the ball inside to Bielosteny. That time Sabonis got the ball to come right back to him. Good break for him. He thought he had Ralph out of position. Took the ball inside.
Sabonis, an excellent free throw shooter, and just as quickly as you say that, he misses one, but he's the best free throw shooter on the team, hitting 80%.
Well, he's still got 2 shots. He has the chance to draw his team within 2 points.
It is 71-67, 5 minutes and 9 seconds remaining. Sabonis with 10 points. He's got one more free throw. It's a 3-point game. Virginia has got their work cut out for them. Wilson to Sampson. Belistenia knocked out of position. The Soviets hit the ball, but Carlisle comes up with it. Carlisle to Sampson. And a good play by the Russians. A fine save by Baltus. Here's Sabonis, and he kisses it off the window.
One-point basketball game. Sabonis getting down the basketball court very, very well. And amazingly, the Soviet Union is that they can take the lead if they get the ball here and score a basket. Extremely impressive display by the Soviet Union, and they steal it again.
Virginia is getting really sloppy here, but the Soviets turn around and throw it away. Wilson. Oh, pretty play into Stokes, and he's fouled by one of the big men. Belistenia, I believe, and Stokes shoot it in from nowhere on that one.
Soviet Union was a little bit out of position. They stole the ball. All their guards were headed down court. Wilson was able to take it, got Biryakov to commit to him. Stokes driving right between the big guys. Bielosteny gets him on the arm.
The basket did not go in. There you get a good look at Ricky Stokes, a junior out of Highland Springs, Virginia. Last year, 74% free throw shooter, Dan.
And he's got some big free throws now.
He moves Virginia out now to a 2-point, 72-70 lead, and there's the foot, I believe, of Yovaisha.
It's a nice suitcase he's sitting on.
It's kind of difficult to tell whose foot that is. He doesn't have a number on it. We have a timeout here in Richmond, Virginia. There is only 4:18 left in our game, and Virginia clinging to a 73-70 lead, and you are watching the best in international basketball.
With all these points, the record's mine, that's clear. Let's buy a man a nice cold beer. Oh, oh! You get a baseball blue with a bullet in it. The pitchfork like a blow. We'll give you more chance than beer. But don't say beer, just baseball. The pitchfork like a blow. Hey, the bull really scored! No one does it like the bull.
The night janitor at WRVA cleaning an empty broadcast booth eyes the microphone. A fantasy forms.
More of the best music.
Yeah, I love the rainy night.
WRVA weather.
And now for a look at traffic.
WRVA News Time.
WRVA, home of Miller the Mallard.
Along with Dan Bonner's cut hatch here at the Richmond Coliseum, and there you see the score, 73-70.
Virginia just has not been able to put the Soviet Union away. They've had them on the ropes a couple of times, but for one reason or another, they've let the Soviets creep back into the basketball game. Virginia's really played in spurts. They've got to get themselves another little spurt now to stretch away. Probably if they could get another 10-point lead, there's probably not enough time left in the game now for the Soviet Union to catch up. Of course, Virginia's going to have to do some playing to do that.
Virginia opens their regular season in about a week. They've been practicing since the 15th of October, so they've been in camp now for about a month, and they've got 6 or 7 days left before their season opens.
Now, Virginia's made a defensive switch. Sampson guarding Belasheni.
Almost a turnover. It is. They award Virginia the ball, and the Cavaliers are not going to take advantage of that. They are going to negate that basket, and the officials have to touch the ball in that particular instance. Stokes into Carlisle.
Soviet Union has done a very good job in their man-to-man defense. They help one another out very well. They're still clogging up the middle, even though they're no longer in the zone, making it difficult for Virginia.
And a reminder, we've gone a little over in our time, and for our regular broadcast stations on down the line, we'll be having a very short post-game show so that you can get into your regularly scheduled programs very, very quickly as soon as this ball game has reached its conclusion. Ricky Stokes to Wilson. Sampson, Belasheni on him, and Sampson goes over him. Sabonis, good rebound. Out to Valters. 2-on-2. Valters to Belasheni. Wide open here is Homichis, and he's got a nice little fadeaway shot.
Once again, the Soviet Union draws to within 1 point.
It is 73-72. Virginia, the nation's #1 preseason ranked team, with the basketball, taking on the Soviet Union in case you're just joining us. Stokes, basket in the lane, will not count. There's a foul, I believe, on Homichis. Valdemaras Homichis.
Homichis got Stokes as he went by. That's the 9th foul of the half. Alexander Gamelski isn't too pleased with that particular call, but since that's the 9th foul of the half, Stokes will go to the free throw line with 2 shots. It's not really much of a foul. There you can see it. He reaches in across Stokes' body with his right hand. Even if he doesn't get him, it didn't look like he got him very much. The official is usually going to call that one.
Stokes has been on the line a lot here in the last couple of minutes or so, and some very big free throws.
And now he's only got 1 left. This is the bonus opportunity, so it's not 3 to make 2.
If he makes this, the Soviets can tie it next trip down. Stokes, 5 points on the night. The crowd very concerned. It is 74-72, as you see.
Game is really very physical. These guys out there are just bumping in a guard position. They're just really going after one another.
Sabonis looking for Belasheni. This is Biryukov against Carlisle. Homichis into Sabonis against Miller, a mismatch. And the Soviets have tied this ball game. 15 points for Arvydas Sabonis, and Gamelski likes the way things are going at the moment. 2:15 to go in the game. Miller going to Carlisle, and the Soviets have the basketball.
And a chance to take the lead for the first time since very, very early in the basketball.
First time in the game. Virginia jumped out 2-0 and then took off. Sabonis, here's the shot. He liked that one, but Sampson is high for the rebound. Sabonis, you can see him there, getting up very slowly in the background. Really took a spill into the table. Othell Wilson, score tied at 74. Sampson tipped it, but here comes Russia. Valters to Homichis. Tipped up and no, will not fall. Biryukov looked like he had it. Carlisle has it for Virginia. Carlisle drives all the way in. The shot blocked by Sabonis. We head the other way. Biryukov all the way in, and he's fouled. And everybody on the Soviet bench is up on that one. They wanted to make sure that that foul was called.
End-to-end action. Great defensive play down on the Soviet defensive end by Sabonis and Bielitsyny. They were defending against the 3-on-2 break. They did not commit. Carlisle made a mistake and got the shot blocked. Here you see Biryukov coming in and getting fouled by Othell Wilson. Now this is 3 to make 2.
Biryukov has hit 3 of 4 free throws here in the November series, the November tour that the Soviet Union has taken. Biryukov makes them both, and Russia leads for the first time tonight. There you see the time. Now we just watch. Here's Miller. To Othell Wilson.
Big basket by Othell Wilson. Virginia standing around a little bit. Looks confused on offense.
1 minute to go in the game. The Soviets will take all the time on this one.
Soviet Union trying to get the ball to Sabonis.
Omichas answers with a basket. That is a big one, his 12th. 45 seconds. Othell Wilson for the University of Virginia forces up a bad shot, and the Soviet Union has it. Omichas checks the clock. Sees 34 seconds on the overall clock, 26 seconds on the shot clock. They're going to go for one. Gamelski, you can see him there, is at center court. He's up. You see the man there in the suit on the bottom of your screen. He's right out there with him. 15 seconds. 13 on the shot clock. There is about a 7-second differential between the real clock and the clock time. Here's Walters, not a good shot. Sampson with a rebound. There is only 5 seconds left here in the game.
We've got a foul on Voldemaris Omichas. He fouled Ralph Sampson. Virginia's in the bonus. Sampson will get 2 shots, but Virginia's behind by 2. Sampson's got to make both of these shots to tie the basketball game, set up the possibility of an overtime.
And should we go into overtime, in international rules, it is not that much different than in the NCAA situation. 5 minutes in duration, and there'll be 2 minutes before the overtime, or between the overtime periods, rather. Here you see the action just a moment ago.
Omichas probably takes this shot just a little bit early. Excuse me, that's Walters. Tough shot. I think the Soviets would have preferred to get a little bit better shots than that. You can see Sampson getting in position for the rebound. Good block out against Bielitsyny. Grabs the ball. As he comes down, Omichas with the right arm slaps him across the chest. Sampson will go to the line. Now, of the Virginia players in the basketball game at this moment, I'm sure Coach Gamelski didn't want Omichas to commit a foul, but he fouled Ralph Sampson, whose last year free throw percentage was 61.5%. He's not the best free throw shooter that Virginia has. He's got 2 very big free throws right here.
Terry Holland, the coach of the University of Virginia. Little trivia question. You played under him. He played at Davidson College. Do you know who the coach was there?
Lester Dizelle.
Lester Dizelle. Now at Maryland. In fact, Terry Holland...
That's not even hard.
Well, it would be. Well, you follow ACC basketball. Lester started at Davidson, went up to Maryland, and Terry Holland then went up as an assistant at Maryland. There's Gamelski, the coach of the Soviet Union. Sampson, a couple big free throws. And you can see the emotion of the Soviet team. Sampson knows that he's got 1 shot. Gamelski is right in front of him.
They want to make sure that Virginia doesn't get in the lane.
And
what do we have here?
Sampson simply threw that up on the backboard, hoping that Virginia might be able to get a rebound. He shot that very hard. Sampson has 1 more shot because they say that the Soviet Union was in the lane too quickly.
Soviet Union, if they get in the lane too quickly, it's just 1 more shot for Sampson. Virginia needs 2.
But Sampson putting it up. Wilson
Oh, good
rebound and
heavens.
a foul by Biryukov. Biryukov is going to be hit with a foul.
Unbelievable.
Now you see the Soviets mad at each other. Well, that's what Sampson was doing. He was going for the...
Well, everybody knows he's doing it, though. It's unbelievable that Virginia can get that play. Wilson comes down with the ball. He's fouled. Now Othell Wilson goes to the line for 2 shots.
Last year, Wilson, a 74% free throw shooter. So Wilson now, 4 seconds left on the clock, will try to tie this ball game up. He'll have 2 shots. He makes 1. Seems to me like that's always the hardest one.
Victor Bereznoy for the Soviet Union is in the game for the first time.
6'5", he's 22 years old. He is number 6. Now Wilson will try to tie this thing up with 4 seconds. It's 78-77, Russia. It's 78-78. 2 big free throws. Here we go, 3 seconds. 2, a long shot by Biryukov is off, and we're into overtime. Been that kind of a game, Scott. The Soviet Union battled back time and time again. They finally get the lead at the end of the game. They send Ralph Sampson to the free throw line with 5 seconds left. He misses 2. They think they've got the game won, but Othell Wilson comes up with a big rebound, makes 2 big free throws. Okay, so I guess we now look at the overtime rules in the International League, and
well, there's no real difference.
Yeah.
There's a 5-minute overtime period. They'll get 2 minutes rest here before the overtime starts. Now, in the NCAA, you just continue to go to the same basket that you were going to and that you were shooting at in the second half. In the overtime, under international rules, you flip a coin to decide which basket. Here we see the key play in the game up to this point. Wilson pushes off Bereznoy a little bit, and he's fouled by Biryukov. You can see Othell, he got in there, got in position for the rebound by actually pushing the Soviet player.
Well, we're in overtime with the score 78-78. We'll be back to finish this thing up sometime tonight, right after this message.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world premiere of a great new soft drink, the world premiere of Diet Coke.
You're going to drink it just for the taste of it.
Diet Coke. You're gonna drink it just for the taste of it. Introducing Diet Coke. You're gonna drink it just for the taste of it. You'll overtake with just 1 calorie. Introducing Diet Coke. Introducing Diet Coke. This is the one that can carry the fame of the number 1 soft drink, the number 1 name. So here's all the taste that you wanted is here. Now and forever, we're going Montana. Introducing Diet Coke. You're gonna drink it just for the taste of it. Just for the taste
Just for the taste of it.
Diet Coke.
Well, we are back. 5 minutes or more of basketball here.
I'm sure
At the
everybody's
Richmond
dying.
Coliseum.
I'm sure everybody's dying to know, Scott. The Soviet Union won the coin flip here at the start of the overtime and elected to keep the basket that they were going at.
Yeah, it did them pretty well in the second half.
If Virginia's going to win the basketball game, they've got to decide how to solve the Soviet Union's attack. If Sampson guards Sabonis, Sabonis moves outside and gets it inside to Belesteny. If Sampson guards Belesteny, then Belesteny moves outside, and Sabonis gets it inside. One thing that's hurting Virginia at this point in time, Craig Robinson went out of the game a little bit earlier, limping a little bit. We didn't think it was too bad, but he has not been back in the game since. Jimmy Miller's been going since that time. He is not as strong inside as Craig Robinson, and that has hurt Virginia.
And you'll remember Tim Mullen for Virginia fouled out in the first half. So there's another starter that is not in the lineup. Well, Virginia, after a little rolling on the floor, comes up with a basketball. This is Stokes in long range win overtime, tied at 78 in case you're just joining us. We got a horse race here in Richmond. Wilson moving in, feeds to Stokes, little man on the floor. A battle for the rebound, and who's got it? Virginia.
Othell Wilson once again gets his hands on the rebound, beats Bereznoy to the ball. Virginia playing, with the exception of Sampson, of course, and Miller, they're playing a very small lineup. They've actually got 3 guards in the game.
This is Miller. Into Othell Wilson. A good drive, and the basket is good. Othell Wilson. A nice move on the inside, and Arvydas Sabonis is going to be hit with a foul, and the basket is good.
Virginia actually turning the tables on the Soviet Union a little bit, playing with 2 post guys inside, running their outside people around the postmen, picking them off on the inside, getting open. Here you see it. Miller with the ball at the top of the key. Wilson is running around. He's out of the picture right at the moment, but he's going to come around Sampson's screen. Trailed by Walters. Gets inside. Fouled by Sabonis. O'Shell Wilson scored 5 big points here in the last couple of minutes.
He sure has. A couple free throws and 3 points there as the basket was good. And his free throw equally as good. It is a 3-point Virginia lead now. We've played a minute in overtime. Here's Walters. Sampson is there. Sampson has the rebound, and he's got a handful tonight. Carlisle to Wilson. Biryukov on him. He feeds back out to Carlisle. Left side. The shot will not fall. Sampson backs it out. Carlisle's got it. And the 30-second clock starts again. From the side, Wilson's shot is short. Bilistinier over Sampson to give it to the Soviets. He kicks it out to Walters. Stokes quickly comes up with the basketball, and he puts it up. Walters with the foul, and Russia is hot. Walters throws the ball high, lands right behind us, and that might have cost him the ball game.
Well, I don't know whether it cost him the ball game, but it certainly cost him Walters' services in the ball game. Alexander Gomelski is really upset, and he has reason to be. Ricky Stokes got away with 2 that time. When he stole the ball, he kicked it. He put his foot down. He got the ball on his foot. Gomelski's complaining about that. As they brought the ball up the court, he took the shot. He missed it. As he went for the rebound, he actually pushed Walters away with his arm. They called the foul on Walters. Now, Walters, that's another technical foul. For sure, he's gone now. That personal foul was his 5th. The technical foul was his 6th.
So now they're talking with Terry Holland, and there you see Gomelski. And I think that you're absolutely right. Gomelski was upset about the kicking up there of Ricky Stokes.
And he had every right to be. I think that was an obvious kick right there. I mean, Stokes is so quick that the official dismissed it because his hand was down there as well as his foot, but he did get it with his foot. The Soviet Union sort of is in a bind right now. Jovaisha has sprained his ankle, and he's out of the game. Walters has fallen out of the game. Now into the game is number 9, Valery Tahanyenko, who has played very little in this tour. Bereznoy the same way. Bereznoy's been in 6 games prior to tonight. He still hits one, but Bereznoy has not played very many minutes. Tahanyenko has played hardly at all.
Stokes will look to give Virginia a 5-point lead, and that he does. Stokes with 7 points. And Russia now has got a lot of work in front of them. Biryukov, just a bonus. Back to Biryukov. Inside. Bilistinier. Sampson backs it away. Virginia's got it. Sampson and Bilistinier getting tangled up in there. Another technical foul is going to be called against Bilistinier. He thought that a foul should have been called against Sampson, and Bilistinier will now head over to...
that's 5 on Bilistinier. He had 3. They called the personal foul on him. He and Sampson were tangled up down there. I didn't exactly see what happened, but they called the personal on him. As you say, I think he felt that Sampson should have been charged with a foul, so he complained about it. They hit him with a technical.
Let's look at it, and then, of course, the technical foul is the 5th.
Sampson got away with one just before we pick it up there. He really slapped Bilistinier on the arm. Now, here they're scrambling for the ball. Sampson's trying to get up, and he's got him by the arm. He really is holding him. It's a good call.
Bilistinier got him there with his arm around Sampson's ankle. So Gomelski might be writing this one up for history tonight. He's not too happy about
Well, now they're stopping the game here. The official score is saying that the fellow who just came in the game is wearing number 15, and indeed he is. But he's got a little piece of tape that on where you have the open spot on the 5. And Gomelski knows it, and he's laughing about it. He's got a piece of tape that makes it look like it's 6. Now, number 16 is Sergei Devyenko, but he's using Voldemiras Homicius' shirt with a piece of tape on it so he can be number 16. Now, I think they're going to let that go. Coach Holland's not complaining about that. It's the official scorer who's being very alert and noticing. Yep. There you get a good picture.
There you see the
tape.
That's
a piece of tape. We've seen about everything here.
I think the smile by Gomelski makes the night for me. 3:12 to go here in the game. It's 84-78. Virginia has, there you see Bilistinier. He is out of the ball game. The Cavaliers in overtime have the lead. Sabonis is wide open, and you can't leave him out there.
Now, that's 2 of those he's hit tonight. I don't think he'll hit that shot if somebody's out there guarding him tightly. But Sampson has let him shoot 2 of those. He's had plenty of time to get set, and he is a very good shooter with a nice touch.
So here's Stokes to Wilson. Miller really in a shoving match on the inside. Carlisle feeds into Sampson over Sabonis. Sampson battling for the rebound.
That's a good shot inside by Ralph Sampson, that hook. The Soviet Union has changed defenses. I don't think Virginia recognized that they were continuing to run their man-to-man pattern, but the Soviet Union was in a zone that last time.
Now we determined that 15, now number 16, is Sergei Babienko.
Well, since we don't know these players by sight, we have to assume that since they tried to make him 16, and that's Babienko's number on the roster, that must be
Sergei Babienko. Here's Carlisle. Shot won't go, and Biryukov has it. Biryukov, good dribble. Good dribble. Bill Wilson is all over him. 84-80. Russia's still in this game. If they hit a shot here, it's a 2-point game with still 2 minutes to go. Here's Sabonis, and he is fouled.
Now they're going to go to the free throw line
Yes.
and get Duke. Every time Virginia has had a little bit of spurt and pulled out in front, and you figure, gee, Virginia's up by 6, and here you see Sabonis putting the ball on the floor. Stokes reaches in. That's an obvious foul. Every time you figure the Soviet Union is out of the game, they come crawling right back, and they're going to be down by 2 when Sabonis is finished here at the line.
Most likely, and remember, they've had 2 technicals here, and a couple of their players are out of the game, and it's 84-82. And look at that, 2 minutes still to go in the game. Here's Othell Wilson in some tall timber inside. Sampson with a fine play, his own rebound, and if there's not a foul at all in there, but Sabonis comes out with it. He feeds to Valery Tahanyenko. Tahanyenko back to Beresov. And you're right, Dan Bonner, we've seen about everything. Tahanyenko coming in off the bench and hit the big one, and it's all tied up. That's the first bucket for Valery Tahanyenko. Carlisle, Stokes, and Wilson. We're at the Richmond Coliseum, and Virginia is having some struggle with the Soviet Union. It's tied at 84, and we're in our first overtime. They leave Wilson alone. He hit that shot earlier tonight, but not this time.
Great block out by Sabonis. He got right there, got his back into Ralph Sampson. Was able to, he didn't get the rebound himself, but he was allowed the Soviet Union to control it.
And now the Soviets are a little bit up because they got a 30-second clock, and it's tied. Here's Biryukov against Stokes.
Sabonis has really done the job on offense as well in the second half.
Tahanyenko, who just hit a fine shot, good move inside. Sampson goes high for the rebound, and we have a whistle and a jump ball on the inside. Miller hit the floor, and there you see just about the rest of the contingent on the floor. Sampson is going to be a little slow getting up, but he's all right. He got tangled up on the inside. Boy, Ralph's been on the floor a lot.
This game has gotten more and more physical as it's gone on. And all the Virginia people are more than a little bit concerned right now as Sampson stays down on the court.
Yes, sir. Sampson does get up, though.
Coach Holland has just asked for a timeout. Tahanyenko with a very, very tough shot. Miller in good defensive position. Sampson gets up and gets it. You can see.
And then
no foul in international basketball.
International basketball, of course, much more physical, and Terry Holland sees an 84-84 score. And this has turned out to be some ball game. Here we are on the East Coast approaching 10:30 Eastern time. This ball game's 2.5 hours old, and with only 38 seconds remaining here in the game, the first overtime, looks like we're staring at second overtime in the face.
We talked before the game and we talked during the game about how the Soviet players had to be tired. They've had a tough trip. And at times they've looked like it, but they continue to come back. They continue to come back, and they're in a position to win the game right now.
While we do have a break, a lot of people have made this possible. The appearance of the Soviets in Virginia here tonight was brought about by some hard work, really, by some local sponsors of Richmond newspapers. They've been involved in international sports since 1972, bringing basketball and track teams to this Coliseum. And so that's Wayne Davis is the man who handles this year after year after year. Bill Wall of the ABA USA, president of the Amateur Athletics Federation that handles these international events, and Bill Wall does a fine job, and there's a lot of people that really have spent a lot of hard work for a lot of people across the country to enjoy, and you are enjoying it just as much as we are, Dan Bonner.
This is a big jump ball here for the University of Virginia and the Soviet Union. The last two times these fellows have gone up against each other, that is Sabonis and Sampson in the jump ball, it's been very poor tosses by the official, and that might be the result of the fact that in NCAA basketball you only have one toss usually in a game.
They haven't tossed the ball in a year. Sampson gets the tip, but the Soviets contained it. Now it's 84-84, and there is 26 seconds on the shot clock, 31 seconds on the real clock. A 5-second differential, and you know the Soviets are going to go for one.
This is about the same thing we had at the end of regulation, a 5-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock.
Now we have a whistle inside. Now what is the call here?
We've got a foul against Jimmy Miller, fighting for position inside against Sergei Babyenko.
Miller has been whistled now for just his first foul tonight. So the Soviets will have the ball.
The Soviets are not going to shoot that. The Soviets have the option of taking the basketball out of bounds. Anytime you have a two-shot foul, and international rules, you can shoot it or take it out. And that's the Soviet Union is standing over here at the side. It looks like they want to take the ball out of bounds.
There you see Babyenko at the free throw line. Now Gomelski on the sidelines is talking with the official. Now we're going to have a conference, and they're going to be discussing that very thing that you brought
wants to
up.
take the ball out of bounds. Now what this is going to do, this is going to give the Soviet Union the opportunity to take the last shot of the game. The 30-second clock doesn't matter now. There's 18 seconds left in the game.
But there was 21 seconds just a minute ago, but now the clock is set back at 30. So here it comes in.
Well, the shot clock, but there's only 15 seconds on the game clock.
Absolutely, that's true.
So the Soviets are trying to get the last shot of the game.
10 seconds. 9. We'll just let you watch it. Here's Sabonis inside. Sampson intimidated him. Sampson's got the rebound. 2 seconds. 1. Othell Wilson's shot at the buzzer is no good, but it wouldn't have counted anyway. Well, let's count them up again. 84-84. And we're going to enter our second overtime period. And we'll be back to the Richmond Coliseum for the second overtime between the University of Virginia and the Soviet Union right after this message.
From the time the first settler stepped on this shore, he felt the need to create shelter, to protect himself from Indians, the harsh elements, from things he didn't understand. Slowly, our ancestors built their homes and raised their families and grew Virginia into America. But along the way, we changed. We don't trade beads anymore. It's stocks and bonds. And the tax on tea isn't the problem. It's the tax on us. So today, United Virginia Bank offers special tax shelters for the 80s, with plans like the individual retirement account to protect higher incomes from higher taxes. Because even after 375 years, we still need shelter from things we don't understand. United Virginia Bank. Not only are we the largest bank in Virginia, we're one of the leading banks in America.
Back at the Richmond Coliseum in Richmond, Virginia. And the game is now 2 hours and 31 minutes old, and we have played one overtime period, and we've determined absolutely nothing. It was 78-78 at the end of regulation. It is 84-84 now. And I think that the Soviets really came out of that overtime period well early. They were 6 points down.
Virginia scored the first 6 points of the overtime. Soviet Union scored the second 6 points of the overtime. It's as we've said frequently this evening. Virginia gets a spurt and looks like they're about to bury the Soviet Union, but the Soviets come right back.
Ralph's sitting there in the huddle saying, fellas, let's get this over with. So here we go again. Dan Bonner, I'm Scott Hatch. We welcome you to the Richmond Coliseum. Overtime period number 2. Virginia, there you see Ralph Sampson, consensus player of the year the last 2 seasons. Virginia in just about every preseason basketball poll, UPI, AP, USA Today, just about every poll and every magazine has them preseason number 1 in the nation. The Soviet Union is actually the number 1 team in the world. They won the World University Games in Cali, Colombia earlier this year. Sampson gets the tip to Wilson. We change baskets in this second overtime. Wilson, Tahanyenko all over him. Some tall timber there. He kicks it out to Carlisle, back to Wilson. Wilson to Carlisle, top of the key, a bad shot off to the left side. And Bereshnoy has the rebound for the Soviets. So Biryukov gives to Tahanyenko, and now here's the young 17-year-old outstanding player, Sabonis, number 18. Biryukov, Wilson on him, he shoved off, and a foul on Biryukov. And Biryukov says, yeah, I shoved him, but he got me first on the arm. The official, though, as always happens, says, nope, you always see the second blow, and another technical foul. Gamelski is going to be hit with another maybe. He kicks a towel out on the floor, and you can see he and the official, and Gamelski is hot as a firecracker.
I think that's a good move on Joe Forte's part, though, to not call two technical fouls on Gamelski right there. I think, again, he's got a good point, but this game is so physical, they're just really going after one another. It's hard to distinguish a play where there isn't a foul, much less calling one.
So now the technical foul occurred on the floor, so he'll get two shots. Had it occurred against Gamelski, he would have gotten one. Unless they are then calling the technical foul on Gamelski.
No, they are calling the technical foul on Gamelski. Now, Wilson was fouled, though, so he'll get two free throws.
So that shot a moment ago was for Gamelski's technical.
I don't think so. I think what they've done, Wilson was the player who was fouled, and that's what the referees are discussing now. So Osel Wilson was due two shots.
All right, now Gamelski's not happy with it. He says one shot, the foul was on him. Now the foul is on Gamelski.
If a technical is called on the coach, it's a one-shot foul, and then it's possession. And that's exactly what Gamelski is saying. Now, I think what the officials are trying to tell him is that there's two shots for Wilson's foul. Because on the floor. And then the technical foul is one more. It gets very complicated, and I don't know that the officials are up to date on it. I certainly am not. I do not understand what's going on here. As is obvious. But since the officials are confused, too, I don't feel very bad.
Well, Gamelski says he deserves one shot on the technical.
Okay.
Now, that's what happened. Now the officials did rule the technical on Gamelski, and now here comes Osel Wilson's free throw shots from the foul that occurred on the floor. So that's what happened. I guess we'll have to go with that.
It all gets involved to a play phase. What happened is there was the foul. So Wilson would have gotten two shots for that. Then if they gave him the technical, it would be another shot plus possession of the ball, and you can't have that in international rules. In the play phase, it's the maximum you can get. Then you have a foul inside on Sampson. The maximum you can get is 3 points. So you can't get 3 points from the ball, so that's what they did.
All right, now Sabonis goes up, and he is fouled by Ralph Sampson, and Sabonis takes a real spill. Well, I'm glad we're doing this in America. The American rules, for the most part of this season, these international rules get to be interesting. Let's see this. You'll see the foul
inside to Sabonis. Works very hard for position in there. Gives Sampson a fake, gets Ralph a little bit off his feet, and goes right up through his arm. Now, Sabonis had 4 points at halftime, and I believe he's got 19 now. So he's been a big, big factor offensively in the second half.
The score is 86-84. We're in our second overtime period. It's 4:07 remaining here in this second overtime. Sabonis now pulls the Soviets to within a point. It is 86-85. It is tied again. I'm not even going to try and figure out how many times it's been tied tonight. Here's Stokes. This is really turning into be a great basketball game. Carlisle to Stokes, left side to Wilson.
Soviet Union back in the zone defense, very conscious of Ralph Sampson.
Remember, their other big man, Belastinier, is on the bench with 5 fouls, as well as another player with 5, Walters, the point guard. Carlisle muscles a shot in, and how that went in, I don't know. And there's a foul on Biryukov. No, I beg your pardon. The foul will be on
Babienko, I believe.
Babienko, number 16. The foul on Babienko, and let's watch it on the inside.
Carlisle drives to the basket, makes a nice move, gets past Tahanyenko, forces Babienko to come to him. Good fake, gets both of them off his feet. Carlisle really got him in the face with the elbow. I don't know that that's usually called a foul on the defensive play, but I guess he got him on the arm.
Carlisle with 17, 18 points now.
That's a tough way to get a foul, and you foul the guy's elbow with your nose.
Sure is. The score was 37-33 at halftime. Now we welcome you. Kahanyenko with the ball to Sabonis. Sampson on him, just daring him to move in. Biryukov. Sabonis now on the other side of the floor. Virginia has it as two players hit the ground. Sabonis and Wilson. Here's Carlisle. Quickly saw an opening, but Biryukov closed it. Here's Carlisle. Sabienko and Sabonis cut him off. Carlisle comes back out front.
Virginia's going to slow it down a little bit. With Bielefseny out of the game, the Soviets don't have the offensive combination that worked so well for them early. They can't pull Sabonis out and get it inside to Babienko. Virginia matches up well size-wise right now.
So, shot blocked, and he gets it back. So the shot clock again starts at 30.
That's right. The shot clock starts again because that was an attempt at the basket. It doesn't have to hit the rim.
Now, Gomelski's not happy with that. He says, no, it shouldn't start all over again, but he's going to lose that argument.
I think he's trying to say it was a pass, but I think it was an obvious shot.
Yeah, he's going to try and intimidate the scorekeeper, but they're not bending. 2:26 to go here in the game. Second overtime. Wilson feeding to Carlisle, who's wide open. Miller tips it in.
Great penetration by Othell Wilson. A very good unbalanced shot by Rick Carlisle. Jimmy Miller, nobody blocked him out. Good position inside.
We're in our second overtime period. There you see the actual time left. And it is a 5-point Virginia lead. Here's a long shot that will not fall, and Stokes has it. Stokes at 5'8". Sabonis at 7'2". Sabonis fouls him. And a couple of other players hit the floor as Stokes submarines Kahanyenko, but everybody's all right. They get up slowly, a couple bumps and bruises, but Stokes, there you see him, the smallest player on the floor, and in the ACC will be at the line.
This looks like a football game here. Now, when's the foul? They called the foul right there. It looks like he fouled him a couple times.
Let's continue that. Well, we won't be able to.
As that continued, Stokes fell down, and Bereznoy fell over top of him. Now, at this point, you probably think, here we go, we're going to get to see the rest of that.
Now watch.
Knock Stokes down. Now, there was the foul, that last play. As he continues, boom, there goes Bereznoy.
And you can imagine the remainder of that picture. Stokes misses.
Again, Virginia with an opportunity, it looks like, to put the Soviet Union away. Every other time this game that they've had the Soviets in this position, the Soviets have come roaring right back.
Stokes with 8 points. Just a nice, friendly game of basketball here. Kahanyenko, or Bereznoy, rather, I beg your pardon, moving toward the baseline, and a whistle and a foul.
I think he surprised Othell Wilson a little bit with that quick first step to the baseline. Wilson was caught a little bit flat-footed, and as he tried to get back around in front, he did push him a little bit.
Victor Bereznoy, number 6, will be at the free throw line. Bereznoy is 22 years old. He's just been hitting about 66% of his free throws on the tour this year, and that was a big one there. And there's the real time left. 1:47. And it is a 6-point Virginia lead. Bereznoy does close it to 5. 1:44 remaining. Here's Miller. Boy, I'll tell you, Kahanyenko and Sampson really shoving there along the baseline.
Now, one of the fascinating things, of course, about the 30-second clock is, I'm sure in a regular game, Virginia now is probably going to pull the ball back out and hang on to it, but obviously they can't do that now.
Right.
And there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock.
Wilson will muscle one up, and he's fouled. Wilson driving in. Good penetration by Othell Wilson. And he'll head to the line as we have a shove against the Soviets.
Fouls on Bereznoy. Victor Bereznoy picks up another personal foul.
Wilson, 15 points, and you remember it is he that really hit some fine baskets and pressure free throws there to send this game into overtime. There is timeout on the floor. 1:18 left in our second overtime. The Cavaliers lead 92-87 over Russia, and we'll be back.
I found Pac-Man with my coat.
I found asteroids with my tab. And you can win, too. Coca-Cola bottlers across the country are giving away millions in toll tax and great Atari prizes. Just like respectively marked Coke, Tab, and Sprite, and Peel. Like Atari home computer systems, game cartridges, even an Atari 20 video game. Wearing suit hats, too. Start peeling. You might find Space Invaders.
Check inside carton for printed details. Offer expires January 31st, 1983.
You almost hear everybody in the place hold their breath when Ralph Sampson went down.
You know, this is one of the things here. Virginia is going to Japan and to Hawaii to play. Now, it seems that most times whenever a college team heads out to play out of the country in the course of the regular season, they get tired at the end of the season. What do you think about that? Going to Japan here in about a month, and they'll be gone for about a week and a half there.
Well, it's good. I think it's a good opportunity for them. I don't know that they'll get tired. I think they should enjoy that trip.
Well, with the trips to Japan and Hawaii for the University of Virginia in the regular season, along with the ACC battles, these are going to be some tired youngsters here by the end of the year. And, of course, they're getting their workout here tonight in this exhibition game against the Soviet Union. And Wilson misses.
Sabonis has gone out of the game. We've got a new player in for the Soviet Union. Yuri Zhukanenko, number 4, has come in for him. They've got a very small lineup in there right now.
Yuri Zhukanenko, 6'6". He's 24 years old. He is number 4. Wilson hitting a couple of free throws. And that should about put the game out of reach. A minute 15 left. This is Tahanyenko to Biryukov. Long shot, will not fall. Sampson has it. And Virginia now can relax for the first time this evening, and the fans know it. We're down under a minute to play. Virginia with a 7-point lead.
Well, it does look like the Soviet Union is going to lose the basketball game, but I think you have to give them a great deal of credit. What an effort they've displayed tonight in the middle of a real tough tour, in the middle of a trip that's just they've got to be very tired. They could have quit many, many times, and they just did not.
Miller, now that was the shot clock you saw. We still have 37 seconds remaining in regulation play. Miller did muscle the shot up, but it was after the shot clock expired. Now there is your real clock in actual ticks of the seconds here in the final moments of this basketball game. Virginia has the rebound, and they've got the victory. Now just listen to the fans.
Well, they're standing and applauding, I think, what has been a great basketball game. I'm sure a lot of the ovation is for the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. The Russian kids have done a great job. They've played hard. They've never quit. As we say, they've had more than one opportunity to do so.
Tahanyenko is going to be hit with a foul. Dan Merrifield will be coming in the lineup. He is number 51. You'll see him coming into your screen.
Ralph Sampson's going to come out of the ball game.
And listen to the ovation. Terry Holland clearing his bench now. Kenny Lambiot is also coming in. Othell Wilson heads out. Ricky Stokes heads out. And Dan Newberry will come into the ball game. Doug Newberg, rather.
Now, Virginia's got the option on any two-shot foul, whether to shoot it or take it out. They've exercised the option to take the ball out of bounds. They're not going to shoot it.
So Carlisle looking, gets it into Newberry. Newberry to Kenny Johnson. 6 seconds. 5, the shot out of bounds, and the Soviet Union will have the basketball. There's only 3 seconds left here in the game. Here comes the pass in. Biryukov will take the last shot. It will not count. And Virginia has won this game, and it was a long time coming.
A tremendous effort by the Soviet Union, a tremendous effort by the University of Virginia. A great basketball game.
The executive producers of this telecast, Russ Potts, Keith Samples, John Claiborne. We thank you for joining us. The final score, the University of Virginia 94 and the Soviet Union 87. It was a long game, but it was a great one. We thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. For Dan Bonner, I'm Scott Hatch. Thanking you for joining us. Good night, everybody.
that you need his product. This is the Reynolds Business Systems representative. Our selection of office equipment is so extensive that she'll help you select only what your office really needs. Now, would you rather buy from someone who needs to sell you something or someone equipped to meet your needs? Reynolds Business Systems.
The best way to tackle a hot job is to get right down to it. And when you can stand tall, you head for the mountain. Push. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream, for a taste as smooth as its name. Push. Head for Bushby.
WTBR-TV, Richmond, Virginia, Channel 6.